Here at Children of Primus, we have no known weaknesses.
This is true.
This is how I will begin this Sunday night frenzy freestyle. Our tech specs numbers are all question marks because our power levels are off the scale. That was a thing that was a thing they did a couple times in Beast Wars. So, anyway, tonight we're going to be doing a tech spec Sunday where we're going to be looking through some of the original bios, which are, interesting because sometimes the official fiction went in a completely different direction. Sometimes characters barely got any screen time and didn't get a chance to show off what was originally intended. But, at least when it comes to G1, like 90% of these were written by Bob Budiansky. So certainly, at the very least, the Marvel comics were written with these bios in mind, since he was also the author of those for most of its run.
Which is very cool.
Mm-hmm. And even after Furman took over, it was still Bob Budiansky writing the bios. So there's a continuity, at least on the bio side.
Now, how much were they involved in? I guess, or to what point, or how long were they involved? Say within the cartoon series of all the seasons and the original comic books for the entire run.
Bob Budiansky, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think he was involved in the cartoon. He wrote the Bible for the brand, which was outlined all the characters and settings, and that was used by the TV show. But I don't think he wasn't involved in the writing side at all.
Okay.
But they started with the materials that he made for Marvel as their point of reference. So, it was very much based on the stuff that he'd already written.
Which, I mean, it's funny. It's just like, point of reference, and then you go back and look at a lot of the bios and certain, I mean, some characters either just barely touched upon what their personalities or abilities were written as. Whereas a few is it almost seemed like they completely missed what the essence of who the character was, what was originally written as.
It's an interesting thing. So I'm reading a lot of the early Marvel stuff right now. As mentioning, over on the Transformers Wikis Discord, they're doing a book club for it. So we're just reading chunks of it week by week, right?
Nice.
So maybe we'll pull up his bio first when we get to reading them. But Ratchet's an interesting one because he was supposed to be a party guy. He loved throwing parties, right? He even, in the big spread in the first issue of the comic where he talks about himself, he mentions that, right? But that never comes up anywhere because a little later on, he mentioned in Warrior School, which was the first issue to really prominently feature him. He lights a hot dog for some college kids because he mentions, "Oh, I love parties," and that's about it, right? But the Ratchet that we know and think of, where he's this put upon grumpy guy,
yes,
comes from the fact that because regardless of what his bio was, in those stories, he got used as the last Autobot alive and responsible for saving the day, and had all these dramatic things happen to him. So I think I recall Bob Budiansky saying in an interview, I'm yeah, he was supposed to be a party guy. He just never had a chance to show it off, and then all this stuff happened to him.
Right.
And so the Ratchet that we know just kind of emerged from the stories that he wound up getting involved in instead of the original bio that the same author wrote for him.
Wow. So it's kind of written as that party medic kind of guy, but then who do we get? Disenfranchised,
Yeah.
mean side of Ratchet.
He immediately goes through it, right?
Mhm.
It's the sequence of events is like he doesn't really do anything the first few issues except when Buster's dad, Sparkplug, gets a heart attack. He drives him to the hospital, and
Right.
then because he's gone, Shockwave attacks. All the Autobots get wiped out, and Ratchet realizes he's the only one alive. So he's got to sneak into the base, figure out what to do, go find the Dinobots, take on Megatron directly, and he just goes through the ringer, right? And so that's why he's Grumpy Ratchet, because all this stuff happens to him. So he pretty much immediately stops being that guy because of the actual plot that he goes through.
Wow.
Yeah.
And good evening. Or I mean, depending on where Toy Warp is located. Good evening, good afternoon, Toy
Good
Warp
Canadian
Vintage.
evening.
Yes, good Canadian evening. So Toy Warp Vintage reviews on YouTube from Facebook says I prefer Grumpy Ratchet.
Yeah.
So interesting as you kind of laid out all of the events leading up to Ratchet's personality change.
Mhm.
It somewhat is reflective in the Prime series, where Ratchet is more of a kind of this snarky, sarcastic, helpful dude, and then even to the point of the newer Netflix series where Ratchet just doesn't want a part of anything.
Yeah.
But surprisingly, the fact that multiple times he's basically saved the Autobots or had a leadership role, it's
Mhm.
never really expressed in a sense where it's like he's almost truly a second in command of the entire team.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I haven't finished the Marvel run, so I can't comment too much on it. But I know from research, like he remains like effectively one of the main characters of the Marvel comic, pretty much up until its ending. Like 80 issues later.
Right. Good evening to Professor D. He
Yeah,
says, "Yeah, from YouTube."
yeah. So he may not be the leader, but he's sort of by default a high-ranking survivor.
This is true.
Yeah.
I mean, funny Marvel kind of plays on survivor characters a lot, where
Mhm.
the main protagonist or certain other characters, no matter what you do, they basically survive everything, and they'll call them like they're a survivor. That's why you can't get rid of this character.
Mhm. It's a little chilly. Uh, Link no work, says me Grimlock. What link?
You resend it again.
Yeah, okay. Uh, yeah, but it's funny because there's a part that when I was discussing this that people sort of riff on where there's obviously like either an art error or a speech bubble error because within the series they get most of the Autobots back up and running, but Optimus Prime is like still not among them because he's still been captured.
Right.
And so when he's having a conversation with Prowl about what to do, and Ratchet seems to say that he's in charge, but the general consensus is they probably meant Prowl, and there was like an art speech bubble goof.
Wow.
Yeah, but people, um, when I was discussing these early issues, it was commented on that Ratchet could just claim he's leader because at this point he'd beaten Megatron, right? He made him
Right.
fall off. He made him fall off a cliff, and got him locked in his gun mode, and his gun mode got buried. So he's like, I beat Megatron. Who else here did that? I'm in charge now. Look at me. I'm the captain. Right?
That is crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, it's like between that and the arc in Transformers Prime where he sort of took over. I'm like, Autobot leader Ratchet should be more of a thing, and it has been a thing sometimes. We just tend to not notice it.
Hmm. Which, I mean, I wonder if it's some variation of the story. It's like Ratchet actually ends up leading or has some form of possession of the Matrix. Um,
Mhm.
because I mean, when which one is it? The Combiner Wars, I believe, where essentially Perceptor was leader.
Yeah, for a little bit.
Hmm.
Gotta find something here. Uh, I'm just going to show you my absolute favorite panel, because I took a screen capture of it. I just got to find it from
Okay.
these readings of Marvel Comics. And you remember that episode of Transformers Prime where Ratchet got juiced on like robot PCP and punched Megatron in the face?
I don't recall that exact one.
Oh, that was a thing that happened. Jess, my partner, was watching that show like without me later on because she was watching it, and she paused and called me to talk about it. He was like,
Wow.
he punched him in the face and he made him bleed from the mouth, and Megatron was like, no one makes me bleed my own blood. He didn't actually say that, but that was the sentiment, you know. Um,
I have to go back and watch the series again. It's like so many series to catch up on.
yeah. Let me. Okay, where's the window? All right, this is a panel from. Wait, let me set this context up. Don't put it up on screen yet.
Okay.
So Ratchet is sneaking up on the Ark, and then he runs in, and he's like, "Megatron must be around here somewhere." And Megatron grabs him, crushes Ratchet's shoulder, makes him collapse, and then Megatron's just, I forget what he says, like, "I'm gonna get you," and then Ratchet does this. Just put the panel up.
All right. Let's see.
I call that combat pragmatism.
Nice.
He's like, this. People are like, they're sort of rivals all throughout Marvel, and obviously, punching your opponent in the junk is the kind of thing that like lifelong rivalries are born out of.
Which I'm just remembering that one drop kick that he gives to the Seekers.
Yeah. Oh yeah, in the cartoon where he like somehow acquires like Street Fighter mechanics and
Yes, I was like, just for that one time,
yeah.
just to get them all souped up.
Mm-hmm. Professor D on YouTube is saying Ratchet Magnus. Yeah. But yes, that happened right there.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, well, Megatron left himself wide open.
Well, why not? I mean, Ratchet does have that ability to really not care at times. So just take the opponent however you can.
Yeah, that's why I called that image combat pragmatism.
Yep.
I'm kind of curious though. His bios. Now I want to read what it actually said about him. If we're looking at tech specs today.
You know what? I will make his the number one that we look up. So before we get to the tech specs, let me go through some of the news for the week.
Oh, okay.
Let's see.
Here we go. So, Jetwing Optimus Prime. Oh, this is interesting. I haven't heard of this yet. I'm guessing this is official.
So from TFW 2005, Queen Studios Collectibles Revenge of the Fallen Jetwing Optimus Prime versus Megatron diorama prototype.
I'm always just like, and I don't mean this in a negative way. I'm always just like, who's buying these? Because I'm like, these expensive movieverse statues, like Prime 1 Studios makes a lot of them. And I'm guessing this is another one of those things. I'm like, I mean, they're nice. I can't, I mean, I'm saying if whoever's getting them, I salute you, but I'm always just like, who's getting these large, expensive statues?
Well, I mean, you never know. It's, I mean, when we've got fans who are, basically moving into new homes and building an entire section of their home for their collection, why not add this to the collection?
Yeah, I suppose these are definitely for your upscale movie fans.
Mm-hmm.
Like who makes it? Queen Studios. I wonder, because I know like the movies in particular are very big in China, so I wonder if it's for that market more so.
Interesting. This is Primo Collectibles Facebook, and Let's see, on Instagram, we have our first look at the gray prototype of the new Queen Studios collectible, and which have got G1 and Transformers live action movie license, and have been working on some impressive Transformers busts previously.
Hey, hello to Mike.
Hey,
Good evening,
what's going
Mike.
on? Good evening, good evening.
Hey, did you ever read a lot of the classic Marvel comics back in the day?
Yeah,
the, tr-
yeah, not
the
a lot,
Transformers ones, I mean.
but yeah.
Have you ever seen the panel where Ratchet punches Megatron in the junk?
Yes, I've seen that one. Oh, you know what? Hey, speaking of comic books, I don't know if you guys mentioned it. Well, anyways, first of all, hello everybody. Nice to
Hello.
join you guys, and I hope everybody's doing great.
Mhm.
But back to comic books, what I was about to say. Did you hear about IDW?
Yeah, that is
Yes.
tragic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's tragic for a couple reasons. I mean, first of all, the long-running rebooted series that I've been very fond of will be coming to an end.
Yep.
But also, it's been going for 2019, 2020. It's been going for like 3 years. But also, worse, the Beast Wars series they've been doing, which is very good and is finally a thing that exists, that's going to have to end super early.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, the thing with IDW, I really like their graphics.
Mm-hmm.
I like the stories that they're putting out. You know, even some of the crossovers that they did, and also trying to merge some of the canons together and all
Yeah.
that stuff, right? So, I'm really sad to hear about that. So,
Yeah.
I just hope they can work something out in the end. If not, if someone else can step up and take over, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, from a couple of the groups, I mean, people were suggesting, it would be nice if there was that team up with Marvel again, or even at least DC. They put it back in the hands of companies who, their primary objective is writing comic books.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
Yeah, but that was IDW's bread and butter is writing comic books.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Like I've heard Marvel in a few places because people are like, well, they were the original writers anyway, right?
Mhm.
The big scuttlebutt has been for a while that Skybound, which is an Image Comics imprint run by Robert Kirkman of Walking Dead fame, was the guys who were trying to get the license.
Interesting.
Don't know if that's true or not, but also the IDW losing the license we don't know if that's true or not for a long time, and that got confirmed, so that might be very well what's going on.
Well, I know that you're more knowledgeable on the comic book side. How many other stories? How many other things is IDW involved in other than Transformers, or is that their only thing?
Now, okay, so they're also losing GI
G.I.
Joe because
Joe,
that license
yeah.
is going with them.
Right.
They still have other Hasbro properties, like they have My Little Pony, they have Dungeons and Dragons. They still got the Star Trek license. That's a big one for them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They might not have Ghostbusters anymore, but yeah, like those aren't the only things they had going on, right?
Okay, I'm just thinking in terms of them losing the license. Does that mean like they end up disappearing like Dreamwave?
Yeah, that's true. Well, Dreamwave put all of its eggs in one basket. These guys at least have a few things going on, right?
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good.
You got to diversify, right? Like that's
Yeah.
what Marvel does. They diversify. But the only thing that I can say anything about this, because of how my Spin just said about them going back to Marvel, if that's the case, I just hope they take that story or that brand, sorry, I should say, and be as creative and do a good or even maybe a better job what they were doing, what they are doing with the Star Wars series.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I've been reading some of the Star Wars series. With Vader and the Bounty Hunter and Luke Skywalker, right? And they all intertwine with each other, right? So,
Yeah.
it's been pretty good writing, pretty good graphics. It actually fills in a lot of the holes, plot holes, all right? So, they've been doing a pretty good job. Well, Marvel has been doing a pretty good job on that. So, if Transformers do go back to Marvel, that's the only good thing, or that's the hope that Marvel will continue to do that for Transformers as what they're doing for Star Wars, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
I
oh,
read the
sorry.
first couple volumes. I read the first couple volumes of Marvel Star Wars 2 back when it started. So yeah, I don't know. I kind of fell off, but like I
Yeah.
liked what I read. So yeah, I concur. It has turned out pretty good.
Like their
Cool.
Vader series, like I have to admit, their Vader series
Mhm.
is really good, right? It goes into a lot of depth story, like how Vader got his new red blade,
Mhm.
right? And the whole involvement. Then from there, it talks about the relationship between him and Palpatine,
Yeah,
and how they get into Exegol and how they put that in there, and other new characters that they've written up. Well, I shouldn't say new because they actually came from some of the past other comic books, legends, you could say, right? That they took and they implemented it into the new canon, right? So they did a pretty good job. I have to admit, they did a really good job with Vader. It actually got me
Mhm.
really interested. So again, if Marvel does get their hands on Transformers, if they could do just as good, I'd be very happy with that. But it just sucks for IDW because IDW has been doing a really good job, right? Or
yeah,
had
yeah.
been doing a good job.
Yeah, now these stories got. I mean, if they got about a year's worth in them, I could see them tying up Brian Ruckley's prequel series because I'm like, given where they are now, if they hustle, they could get them to Earth, and that could be where they end it.
Yeah.
That would work, right? Um, but Beast Wars, I don't know what they're gonna do to tie that up. They're like into like it it's structured sort of like the show was, and like the show was 3 seasons. They're nowhere near even the end of the first season, like in
Oh
terms of
wow.
plot to cover.
Wow.
But I mean, maybe that's a bit of a false comparison because it's not like they're not like retelling it. It's like Marvel G1 and cartoon G1. They're just
But I mean, in the terms of
Hmm.
I mean, when you look at comic books, you have that ability to stretch a story out, and
Mhm.
knowing that it's like, well, they're kind of coming to an end point. Will they then try to like almost just get lazy, and it's like, well, now we don't have like 5 years, we have like 5 weeks. Just throw something in together and making an ending, and that's basically like rebirth all over again.
Mhm.
And many other shows that they had great series and stuff, but then just as soon as everyone realized, well, we're getting canceled,
Yeah.
like it's just sloppy writing and just a half put together ending, and we're like, what was that? Like, the ending sucked, but at least the rest of the series was good.
Yeah.
um so hopefully they don't do that with the comic books.
Yeah.
Well, the
And I'll
only
tell you.
the, the only sorry, Anthony, I was just gonna finish this off with
Yeah.
Beast
Go ahead.
Wars. The only thing I can see from them wrapping it up with season 2 and season 3, let's just say, right?
Mhm.
Um, if they do like a hardcover style comic book,
Hmm.
right, and just have everything in there, and just wrap
Yeah.
up those 2 seasons.
Yeah. That's the other thing. I hope they get the hardcovers out of all the hardcovers of Brian Ruckley's series out before they lose the license because I've been collecting them.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm sure they probably have a deal in place, just to get those things out, as a last hurrah, right?
Yeah, and something James Roberts, of all people, said on Twitter, the More Than Meets the Eye author, was he's pointing out that whatever next company gets it, the way the license works, they'll be free to reprint any IDW stuff they want. Just like
Okay.
IDW could reprint Dreamwave and most of Marvel. There was some rights things with like Spider-Man and Circuit Breaker for a while, but
Yeah.
so like if IDW doesn't finish it, whoever gets the license next could finish the hardcovers if they wanted to.
There
Um,
you go.
yeah, I was going to say before we even knew they were losing the license, there's solicitations for a mini series that's supposed to start next month. That's actually called War's End for
Mhm.
the Brian Ruckley stuff, but it's not about the Autobot Decepticon war because that only just started. It's because in IDW before we started the story, there was a previous war called the War of the Threefold Spark, where a transformer called Exarchon was somehow modified by somebody out in space. Maybe it's the Quintessons, we don't know. so that he had 3 bodies and was insane and was incredibly destructive. And he tried to conquer Cybertron, but they stopped him. And, at the start of the series, they're at peace, but, Megatron's causing trouble. And the arc in the comics right now is X-Archon is coming back, and Warzone is supposed to be about them beating him instead. So people are like, are they going to end this with them beating this other unrelated guy from the previous war? I'm like, it'd be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Spike Rebirth? I'm making a comment there because you know how their one episode, what was it, season 2, when Spike got injured and they transferred his brain or his mind to the
Autobot Spike.
to Autobot X or whatever it was called again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's one of those stories where in IDW where they're a little bit vague about how he works because they're slowly unveiling the mystery. But it seems like he just steals bodies to survive, and he needs 3 of them. So there's a character called Jumpstream who teleported to an alternate dimension where X-Archon had taken over Megatron, Shockwave, and Onslaught, and those were his 3 bodies.
You see, this is where a great opportunity can come in, and they can introduce the GoBots.
Yeah. People are like, well, we already established that Jumpstream can accidentally go to different universes, so why not use that to...
Hey, if DC and Marvel's doing it, why not Transformers, right? Or not Hasbro, I guess you could say. So, but
exactly.
Think about it, because you got to remember we've talked about this in previous shows where the whole origin of the GoBots. They were humanoids. Their planet got devastated. In order to survive, they transfer their ancestor or their mind to robots, and then from there, they have like this big storage of all their bodies, and that's where the fight between the Renegades and the Guardians start to come up, right? So, and then you had like the master guy that came up with it, but he was more on the Renegade side. I forgot his name, but anyways, that'd be a crazy thing. You can have that particular character for some odd reason when he went into outer space, he was floating around instead of he ended up going to Gobotron or whatever, or saw that science and messed around with them, and there you go. And that could be like a great leeway.
You should read. You should really read Tom Scioli's GoBots miniseries if you haven't already. It's full of insane stuff like that.
I was going to say, in the ultimate sense of a Transformers multiverse, in the hands of Marvel, then you end up with Transformers GoBots, like the Grandizers, the Voltrons, the Force Fives, and it's like just all different universes, but and it works because I mean when you look at the Japanese series of Transformers, it basically would be that bridge point between the American version of robots and the Japanese version of robots.
Sorry, but I was just thinking about this right now too. Another cool thing, how you can tie up another universe into this, and they also have transforming figures, is where the GoBots got this idea from is because their predecessor, the Robotech, right?
Diaclone.
Yep.
No, but I'm saying about like the Robotech guys and even the Diaclone, but I'm saying Robotech because those were humans and their jets that transform, that they control, right? There's another universe right there you can tie everything in, right? So
Well, the funny thing is, I'd almost say that GoBots are that in between in the 2 universes, because when you look at, say, the American side of the universe, you've got you have the robots who are sentient beings. When you look at the Japanese side of the universe, the human controls the robots, and the robots are just vehicles that do not have an essence, and everything about that robot is actually from the human itself. Just like a driver controlling the Voltron line or any of the headmasters in the Japanese series.
I was going to say something that they actually did fairly recently in IDW that I'm just popping up an image of here. Um, we finally got to see what Exarchon actually looked like before he became like a three-body guy, and they did
Okay.
base his design on a Diaclone figure, like like one that didn't get released as a Transformer. Let me just find it here. There we go. Yeah, this is a picture from the Transformers wiki of his brief cameo in the comic on a screen and the Diaclone toy they based him on.
Nice.
So yeah, they did sort of have that idea. They're like, he was a Diaclone before he became like a three-bodied like destructive force.
Yeah, and I mean, looking at that Diaclone design,
Yeah.
that is fully the Japanimation version of all the earlier cartoons and robot shows that we used to watch.
Yeah, it's
It's
called
funny. You know what's so funny?
Yeah.
I was about to say I had when I was younger, and I didn't realize it was Diaclone. And I bought it at this place called the Half Price Store. I don't know if you guys remember that. I don't know if Spinner remember that. It was
Maybe.
before you, Anthony. They were selling like these kind of figures where you had like these three ships that combine into a robot, right? And I had something similar to this, and I think I still have like one of it left or somewhere, right? But that'd be like another, way of tying everything all together, right? So that's pretty
Well,
cool.
do you remember if the ships were red, blue, and orange? Yeah, that's one of
Mine, yeah.
that's one of the Force 5, I believe Force 5. So the red robot is Star Poseidon, and I believe the red was the top part, orange the middle, and blue on the bottom. When they switch configurations, the blue is on the top, and that's Star Ariel, and when they switch again, the orange is on the top, and that's what was that? So Poseidon, Ariel. I think I'm missing one. I'll have to look up the image. But I mean, that's one of the cartoons we used to watch, and it's almost, I think, 81 or 82.
Because it was funny because one was a spaceship
Hmm.
or a plane, right? An aircraft, let's just say. One was a land vehicle, and the other one was like a vehicle that belonged in the water, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I remember those. Oh my goodness, it's funny, like when like as a kid when you have something like that and you don't know
Right.
what you have in your hands, and then
Right.
when you realize it after as an adult, you're like, what the hell what was I thinking, right? So that's amazing. That brought
Yeah.
back memories. Thank you for that picture.
Yeah, no problem. I think what did it say on the wiki? Let me go back to his entry here.
Star Avengers, 1975. That's insane.
He was a recolored version of the 1981 Diaclone Dia Attacker toy, which was also released in the West as the Converters toy line as Zetanoid. Any of these guys look familiar?
Let's see.
They all do. Look at the what's it called, the one, the Jetfire-ish one.
Wow, those almost look like Scourge.
Yeah.
The Jeep, the bottom Jeep one looks like the same Jeep that I used to have for the GoBots.
I'm just trying to find this Zetanoid guy they were talking about. It's bootleg and sex.
There we go. So I found a picture of Star Avengers. Now I just need to get their names.
Yeah, I don't know where he is here. I can't verify the accuracy of that at the moment, but whatever. I want all these figures now. I never knew this.
You know, eh?
Yeah.
I'm just like looking at it. I'm like, oh my god, I'm going back in time.
I was thinking about how like a lot of Diaclone figures were like bootlegged and released that way, like Multiforce 14 and stuff.
Yeah. Here, this is the one that I had. I found it. Actually, hold on. I'm gonna pull it up.
Now I'm interested in seeing it.
All right, so let me see.
Image of the pictures. I'm just trying to find the characters' names. Since I haven't watched it in like 30 years, I'm missing the name of one character.
Let me see here. Yeah, so this is the one that I had. Let's see.
Oh. I'm just seeing a spinning wheel.
There it is.
Ah. Oh, that is a Diaclone guy. I don't... Yeah, Diaclone Diabattles. Diatron 3-in-1.
Yeah, that's the one that I had.
You know what that is? That is Diabattles. That is the very first guy they did in the new Diaclone line. The one that they just the modern like high end one.
And Mikey, sorry, I was going to say, Mikey, you know where I got this from?
You see the flea market?
Yep, and Gina Finchmark.
Yeah, that's interesting. You had the original Diabattles, just because of how it got remade and re-released into this like premium figure.
The funny thing is, I still have the airplane mode.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't find the other two, like the land vehicle and the sea vehicle, right? So, or the water vehicle, right? So that's the one that I had. All right, I'm gonna stop sharing this. That's
let me show you the fancy remake.
The Jeep Go Ball with Jeep Crew. Yep. Toy War Vintage Review on YouTube. On Facebook, mentioned the Jeep GoBot was named Jeeper Creepers. Yeah. Man, who names those things?
Mm-hmm.
Piece of paper that you threw in a hat. You just wrote whatever is on there. And you picked it.
Actually, while Anthony's searching for that, let me see if I can. Oh, he's got it.
Yeah, I'm just going straight to TF Source because they happen to have convenient pictures of all of the modes.
Right.
Here we go. So, where does robot mode go? Here it is.
Are you serious?
Yeah, so this was the first of the new Diaclone figures that they did, and it was a new version of Diabattles, which was the guy you had there.
Wow, that's like big.
Yeah, it's like he was like really expensive, but like really really premium because you see he could still do the 3 modes and everything, and split into the 3 vehicles: the front part, the middle part, and then the jet part in the back. And you could build them into one big vehicle now if you wanted. And he had his robot mode still. This was the first thing they put out, and I've strongly considered getting him just because he was neat, but he was really expensive, and he was really small. He was like the size of a Voyager Transformer. But it's because they put like crazy amounts of engineering into him.
Hold on, he's a deluxe class size.
Did I hear that correctly? No, he's like Voyager sized.
Oh, okay.
I saw him one year at TFCon because they had him out in shelves. He was like the size of a Voyager, but also like really expensive because he was like very complicated. Because he could do the 3 vehicles and
That's pretty cool. I actually like that. But
Yeah.
there's no way I'm spending $200 on that.
Yeah, and probably more now because he's been out of production for a while because this guy's kind of old.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, because he was the first one in the new Diaclone line that they did. And how long's that line been going now? A little while.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
The stuff
yeah,
that they could do today.
Yeah, but it's just kind of funny that the one that you just like got at the flea market back in the day was like the flagship launch title of this new like expensive collector oriented line.
So let me ask you a question then. So if I had that particular figure in its mint condition, never mind the box, let's just say the mint condition, and the little figure that came, like the little man figures that came in to ride the vehicles. Yeah, there you go. Thank you. How much do you think something like that would go then? If I
Like the vintage one?
Yeah.
Oof, a lot. Those things are like rare and sought after. Probably several $100s.
Holy.
Yeah, that's if I had to just ballpark it. You know, I'm not Antiques Roadshow. I can't totally speak for.
Oh, we got a comment here. From Toy Works Vintage Review on YouTube. So he put a link here on eBay.
Follow it, see where it leads.
I can't.
Oh, I'll follow it then.
I can't highlight that link. That'd be interesting. Like, I'm in shock and awe right now. You're talking about like $700 here. Let's just say give or take, right?
Yeah. Oh, it's a link to an eBay listing for the new Dia Battles that I was just showing you. It's currently on eBay for $246 American.
Okay, the one that you showed me, or
yeah, the new one.
Oh, okay. So $200. Okay, so that's like $20,000 Canadian. Okay.
Yeah.
Our American viewers are going to be saying, like, do we really want to go to Canada? Is there that expensive?
It's
just us joking around.
Yeah. Because I'm like, hypothetically, I would like to note that our currencies are supposed to be worth the same thing. It's just a matter of the exchange rate being different. Yeah. Hypothetically.
It's okay when we get it, once our currency becomes all digital. And it's in our digital wallets issued by the government, because all of our IDs and funds will be all digitized by the government. It would be all worth the same. So get your vaccine shots, people. Otherwise, they're not going to be access to anything.
One world government.
I don't know if I follow it, but if you're encouraging people to get their vaccine, so much the better.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying something else, but if you want to take it that way, go ahead.
I do.
Well, now we're going to get restricted now for COVID ID, false information. All right, so did we talk about any of the Beast Wars specs?
No, when we opened the thing, we were talking about Ratchet because of how he was conceived as being a party guy, but that never came across in the Marvel comics. Because he went through the ringer, so the modern Ratchet that we know is like totally different from his bio. But we haven't gotten into bios yet.
Oh, okay.
No, we'll get into them soon. Yeah, so here's an image of Star Avengers. Yeah, so I believe Star Dragon was the one in the center, Star Ariel on the right, and Star Poseidon on the left.
These guys do look familiar to me. I think I've seen, I've just seen them around before, like on the internet.
Yeah, it's so funny looking it up now, and I was surprised when they said that the cartoons from like the 70s. I mean, we watched it in the 80s, so I didn't realize it went back that far.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, you gotta remember, Battle of the Planets went back to like 75, right?
Right.
So It's like one of those memes. What when you show a picture, this is how old you are.
Oh gosh.
Exactly. I saw one today on Facebook. Someone posted an ashtray for McDonald's,
Ugh.
and they're like, "This is how old I am." Right? I'm like, "Damn, I remember those." So I guess I'm the same age.
Yeah. Oh yeah, TF Nation 2022. Gary Chalk's attending it. I saw him at TFCon a few years ago. He was fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where's TF Nation?
That is the UK convention. That
Oh,
is
okay.
like Euro TFCon, basically.
Yeah, cool to visit all the different TF cons around the world.
Oh yeah, they're making Beast Wars Sandstorm. This guy was the original of this guy was a BotCon figure from back in the day. I think he was the 2001 or 2000 exclusive, one of those two. And the original was like a original Beast Wars Scorponok in those colors. So now they're making the Kingdom one into him.
Nice.
Interesting.
Yeah, like this is the kind of stuff that appeals to me because I was like online looking at BotCon exclusives when I was actually like a kid in 2000, 2001. So like them making these available like really hits a very specific spot for me, you know?
No, I get what you're saying, because if they did something like this with G1, it'd be like the same nostalgia for us, for Spin and I, right? So
yeah. So like, when you're a kid, you're like, I'm never going to BotCon. I'm never owning a version of these. And I'm like, well, now we've made one out of the Kingdom guys.
Well, I think back in our days, like if they had something like this back in our days, oh my goodness, that'd be amazing, right? It's like our kids, man. They I'm telling you, our kids should be thanking us every single day, saying thank you for all the cool toys, cool game consoles, computer, phone, internet, whatever you want. That's right, Gen X. You're welcome.
Yeah, there's a plus and a minus side to all of this, because I mean, they're flooded with everything that we didn't have, but at the same time, it's created a huge distraction because there's so many options. I mean, you give someone just like like 10 options at most, you work with those 10. You give someone like 1,000 options, like you walk in confused, because it's like there's just too many options for me to choose.
Yeah, but sometimes having options, like too many options, sometimes it can be a good thing, right? Like, if we didn't have, put it this way, we wouldn't have all these crazy, amazing characters that we see today on TV, right? Or the figure that Anthony's transforming right now in his hands.
It's putting Rodimus Prime back in
Right?
vehicle mode.
Right? If they only stuck with the 10 Autobots and 10 Decepticons, how, like, what kind of story can you have? Right?
Well, but you know what? It forces the mind to be creative. And I'll branch off from what you just said, because I know that this will touch upon on something that D has said before. But the thing is, when your options are limited, it puts your mind into overdrive, and really you start tapping into that unused potential of like, well, I've got these 10 characters. How can I create an entire series from these 10 characters? And many shows successfully do it from like 4 or 5 characters.
That is Beast Wars. That is why it worked. They were like, we can't do the whole toy line. We don't have the budget. CGI is expensive in 1996. We can only do 10 characters. That's what they started with.
Okay, and now Anthony, Beast Wars is 10 characters. How many characters would you say is like the entire G1 of Transformers?
It might hit triple digits, even if we're just counting the cartoon.
I could see that. So this is branching off to many of the things that D have said, where he's not a Beast Wars fan, and then you jump into a certain fandom and it's like, well, now that I'm in this fandom, now I have to buy the toys for it. And I'm thinking, you jump into the Beast Wars fandom, you're only buying about 10 toys and you've collected the entire series. Whereas like with G1, you have about 300 characters to collect.
Yeah. Toy Warp Vintage Reviews on YouTube, on Facebook, said 151, I think. I'm like, I don't know if they're being facetious because that's also the Pokemon number, or if they mean 151. But honestly, that sounds about right to me, if I was going to estimate.
So 151 in total for G1?
Yeah, probably for the cartoon at least.
Where's this
Because
comic?
it's only 4 years of product.
I'm just thinking because and I remember at the time counting my characters when I had a multiple of them. I don't know if 151 would be correct, because if you think of 5 combiners, that's already 5. That's already 50. And that's only 5 combiners out of the entire set of combiners, not including all other characters that exist. And especially in the later end, when it's like now you've got hit masters, target masters. So essentially, you've doubled certain characters. So say we're going with 150 with 151. Between Superion, Defensor, Minosaur, Bruticus, and Computron, that's 50.
Yes. Yeah,
So
it's a third already.
Yeah, but
so there's no way there's 100 characters left over in the entire G1 when like just 50 are only those combiners.
I think he's mentioned it. I think he's referring that to Beast Wars.
There's not 151 Beast Wars.
Well, maybe in the toy line, but definitely not on the show.
Well, if you put all 3 seasons together.
No. I could do that tally right now.
And especially what's called in season 2 and then the final season, your additional characters that came.
There was
even though Rhinox got turned into a tank after, right?
All right, I'm pull a chart out, map this out physically.
Yeah, I still can't see it. And I mean, like, me, even myself not fully being in it, I can't see Beast Wars being up in the 100 range, much less. Because I mean, you have like your core characters, and then there was the handful of characters surrounding them, but not that many. I don't think.
Mikey, can you put all 3 of us on there? Because we're talking and nobody sees us talking. Right?
So quick strike.
Get rid of that image. Just put the 3 of us for now.
Oh, we have a. I was going to finish going through the news.
Oh, okay. We're going through the news. Okay, so while Anthony's going through the Beast Wars because he's the Beast Wars guy.
Okay, I'm only counting 20 characters for all of Beast Wars, but that's before getting into Beast Machines.
Okay, and isn't Beast Machines just like an upgrade of within those 20?
Yeah, not too many new characters. There were a couple though, so I'll.
No, what about, is that including comic books, and is that also including Japanese?
Well, there weren't any comics in that point. That is not including the Japanese shows, though. I couldn't begin with that. I count only 27 just from memory. If you go all the way to the end of Beast Machines.
Wow. So again, that's
it's a small cast.
Yeah, anyone that's like, well, let me jump into collecting Beast Wars characters. That's 27 characters, and like you've got the entire run, and are all of 27 of those characters available as toys?
Not well. All the Beast Wars ones are. There's a few Beast Machines characters that were TV show originals.
Okay.
I think just Botanica is the only one that hasn't been done now. Yeah, so I think you could get 26 out of 27.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, if you're willing to go vintage for a couple of them,
right?
Like I said, Kingdom's almost done the first season already. They're just missing 2 characters. They're probably going to get covered in Legacy, and Kingdom already started doing some of the season 2 editions. So, like, we're pretty much halfway there already.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, really, that's not a lot of characters.
Yeah. Though, if we're talking about plastic representations, you also get into the fact that various characters got upgraded.
Right.
Can't even see if anybody's making
Yeah, because
faces at me because I had a window open.
They went from what? Transmetals
and Transmetal 2s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did watch a bit of it, not all of it, but I watched a little bit.
Because I'm like, Optimus Primal had like 4 bodies if you count his Beast Machines version. So like you'd want to get like 4 different figures of him. They've only done his season 1 form in Kingdom right now.
We got TF Collect on Facebook saying that I like show of having small teams. You can finish a collection sooner. I've finished 3 different ones already. I do agree. I do agree with that because that's one of the reasons why I like. Here's the thing. One of the reasons why I like Transformer Primes is because they had characters that came after that joined the team, and then they also had like some characters that were there as like a guest spot.
Yeah, like Wheeljack.
Right.
No, Wheeljack did join the team after, but like for example, like Cliffjumper, he got killed off right away. Or you had Skyquake, yeah, that's another character that jumped in and then jumped right back out, right? Just trying to think of some other ones, right? But anyways, the fact that I like that's not bad. So I do agree in that aspect. But when you have, but I don't know, sometimes you gotta freshen things up, right? The only thing that I didn't like about season 2, let's just say, from season 1 to season 2 and G1, you had all these new characters that just came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Right? It would have been nice to say, hey, welcome to the team, Blaster. You're going to be our new communication, or meet our new communication guy, Blaster, kind of thing, right?
Well, the frequent thing that I've heard is a fan theory is Omega Supreme sort of belatedly got an origin because in Secret of Omega Supreme, they were like, oh, you tracked the Constructicons to Earth. That's why you showed up here. And since he's a spaceship transport, the common fan theory is that the whole season 2 group was just on board him when he showed up off camera, Yeah.
But even when the Coneheads showed up out of nowhere, it's like, if I was Megatron, I would have told the original Seekers, hey, see these guys? They're going to be a replacement if you guys don't get your crap together. Right?
I was going to say, if you look at the season 2 toy commercial when they were introducing the characters, they only show 2 of the Coneheads. So they show all some of the new Autobots because they don't include the mini ones like Cosmos, Power Glide, and Warpath, but they only show 2 Seekers for the Decepticon side.
There you go. Like Power Glide came out of what? Downabot Island, I think.
That was his first appearance, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, hey, Spike, hey, let's go to Downabot Island. And if I was Spike, I'd be like, who the hell are you? Are you a Decepticon? You're a plane. Right?
Over on YouTube, Professor D is saying, I'm watching Master Force right now and thinking about getting the little teams. Raiden and the Headmaster Juniors are on my hit list now. So I wonder if he's going to go official or third party with the train bots, considering that sponsor news right there is like, hey, the first of the official train bots have just dropped.
Well, and look what we have on the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get Sui, I guess. I could not tell you. I'm usually pretty good with these guys. I could not tell you which train bot is which, like gun to the head. I could not tell you.
No, neither could I. Because and again, it's funny where, train bots were kind of introduced to the American market. When would that have been? Like late 90s or early 2000s, where it's like, I've seen these characters on VHS from like the late 80s, but I could not tell you any specific characters.
Yeah. I know Ryan is the name of the combined form.
Yeah, I just remember like maybe like from a commercial or something like that, or where I walked into a store and happened to see, but the figures, but I don't recall them in any shows, to be honest with you.
Yeah, well, they were in Headmasters, like you said.
Yeah, I just don't remember them. Yeah. The only way I was able to know about them, like more so, is because of the internet, right? And so when you go to TF Wiki, let's just say, and you're like, what's that word that you call it? TF Walk or TF Wiki Walk, whatever?
Wiki Walk.
Wiki Walk, there you go, right? That's how I start to know about these trains, but otherwise,
Well, it's unfortunate because
look at my
when
face.
when the American cartoon ended, what would that have been, like the end of '87? A
Yeah.
lot
Yeah.
of people really thought that was it for Transformers. So, like, in the last couple weeks, there's one guy in one of the groups. He's taken all of the newer toy commercials from back then and created new intros. Where he has an intro with Power Master Optimus, Piranacon, the mini bots, and everyone are like, who are all these characters? I'm like, these characters existed in '87, and this was still when the toys were made of quality. But because the cartoon ended, everyone just thought that was it. There's no more toys. Transformers is done. Even though the comic book was still going and introducing all these characters.
Well, you figure once he saw Rebirth and everybody's celebrating and Cybertron has become gold again, right? It was like, you know, there was nothing, how do I say, no cliffhanger at the end of it.
Yeah.
Right. Which
And
is
so,
again,
yeah,
being unfortunate. It's like, well, they've created in a sense, they found a way to end the storyline, but then the toys kept continuing, because then a few months later, like a Power Master Optimus toy comes out, and you're like, well, why or where did why does he exist? But the
Y'all ever
comic book
see
explains it.
Y'all ever see the Tommy Kennedy stuff back in the day?
I don't
no.
recall.
The show had sort of a quote unquote fifth season where they re-aired a bunch of episodes, but they included new live action intros and outros starring a kid named Tommy Kennedy who interacted with
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
With
yes.
Power
yeah.
Master Optimus.
Yeah.
Like that was sort of a vehicle to advertise him because it was Power Master Optimus, and the week he has mentioned he'd talk about like Getaway and other Year 5 toys just to try and talk about them.
It was because how did he introduce it? It was like Power Master Optimus retelling stories of his past to Tommy.
To this kid, yeah.
Just the episodes that they picked were really disjointed and didn't do justice in terms of anyone learning about G1 during that time.
Yeah.
But the funny part is, even when the Japanese still continued that storyline of G1 with their headmaster version, even when they ended it as well too, you had Prime again sacrificing, Rodimus taking over, Ultramag is dying by 6 shot, and Galvatron, and I know, sorry guys, and the Galvatron somehow dying in a frozen water, like how Megatron did in how they dropped Megatron in the deep sea in the Bay Universe movie.
Yeah.
Right. It's something similar to that kind of thing, whatever, right? And so, and then that ended. Like that cartoon, like that ended that whole, for me, that was like, that ended G1, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they had like an English version too, which was horrible. But
yeah. Remember that Shout Factory wanted to put that English version on their DVD releases, and Hasbro was like, no.
Wow.
They just straight up did not want to release it.
You know what? I would. Here's the thing: if I was Hasbro, I said, okay, we can release it, but we're gonna get some actors and kind of rewrite the whole, I guess, script.
Oh, that wasn't that was never in the cards. One of the Shout Factory guys even did an interview where he was like, "We don't have the money to make a new dub."
And you have to consider at the time,
I would have did for free.
This was when Transformers was kind of on their decline. So to like with many shows to really, and especially we're talking the 80s, to convince any sort of studio, hey, let's put more money into this, and they're like, no, like it's time to wrap this up. Like it, the high point's already gone.
We got Professor D here on YouTube saying Moon Studio train bots look so good. Not from our cannot, but they scale with the MP10 each as individual bots. Honestly, seem worth $600.
100. It's like 100 for like each character.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Mhm.
Yeah. We
So
got
also
Bill
have a-
here saying, "Hey,
Good
Bill.
Evening, Bill.
Good evening, mates. What's happening, buddy? Welcome to join the show." And then once again, he's commenting on Facebook. Did I miss where this SS86 Starscream was found? No, we're going to
Let's
talk
scroll down and
about it
have a
right
look.
now. So thanks for getting us back on track, Bill.
Yep. So we
So
are
where was
not
this
even
found?
done January yet, and we have a nice new sighting of a toy which some retailers were planning to only get in June. Let's see. So at a Target in Greenwood, Indiana, and I believe Bill is in Indiana.
Oh, hey.
Okay, so
Yeah,
I guess we got to move to Indiana, guys, because Bill's getting all the good stuff.
Let's see. They come 2 per case and are a closed box. So this is the same Voyager Starscream we got in Earthrise.
Yeah, it's such a strange set. It might get me just because I'm a sucker for movie stuff. But it's the Earthrise one. Yeah, it's the Earthrise Voyager. They added some more paint. They gave him posable hands, and then they added all of his coronation accessories. So he's got the crown, the shoulder pads, and like a multi-part cape. And then he also comes with a big Decepticon throne to sit in. So it's all that extra stuff to turn him into a leader.
That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's just like, I don't know. I already have Earthrise Starscream. I like Earthrise Starscream, but the fact that I like him means I might like double dip just to get the fancy movie version.
Here we go, getting multiples.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I know, and I don't usually do that, but I'm like, this one looks pretty swank. Okay, that's just out of package. Oh, is this finally happening? Let me tell you. Remember in 2017 when Last Night happened, and they're like, we have a writer's room, we're making a cinematic universe.
Yes.
They've been talking about doing an animated film since then.
Yep. That was supposed to be like the prequel film to all the Transformers, whatever.
It was called Transformers 1 at the time.
Yeah.
Provided from Cybertron. And we have 2 pieces of news regarding Paramount and their Transformers franchise. Firstly, a set of film dates appeared on Twitter, which seems to be Paramount's slate for the next couple of years. On it, we see the Untitled animated Transformers film with the date of July 19th, 2024. And we know very well by now the dates will always change as we've seen with Mission Impossible in the same list, but at least we know they have an idea of its release window and that it is a still ongoing project.
Like if anything, I think in the pandemic situation, animated films are probably a better bet in terms of making their release windows than live action ones.
Yes. But then the fortunate side, everyone can work on the project, at home or distanced. But then when it comes time for the theatrical release, that's where they end up in the same snag with a live action movie. Because then if everyone's not able to go to the theater, then it's sent straight to a streaming service.
Yeah, I was going to say that was the Disney movie that just dropped Encanto. It was the same thing. Like, it was animated movie. They made it during the pandemic. It went straight to Disney Plus without doing a theater run. But this was like all known in advance.
Right.
Yeah, Pixar was pretty pissed off about that because they actually thought that was going to be their first movie going back into the theaters.
Oh, yeah, it's my Scout Hubcap review. I opened it by being like, I forget new things. I'm going to talk about a figure from 2010 because it's my show.
Why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
I would.
Yeah, I'm just my TFCon pickups are going to keep this blog going for ages.
Nice.
I was like, it's another hubcap. Let me talk about him. And it was going to be. It's funny because the only other old movie figure that I have to go against him is Ransack, who shows up there, and he's like a World War I biplane. So the 2 movie guys that I have are just old vehicles because he's like a Ford Model T looking thing, and this guy's like a World War I airplane looking thing. So it's like
Nice.
it's like thematic.
I don't
you know?
remember that guy.
These are just like random. This was a point where this is a Revenge of the Fallen, post
Yeah.
Revenge of the Fallen.
Yeah.
Movies are making mad cheddar.
Yeah.
They're just doing whatever they want in this line, particularly in the smaller classes. So they're like, this wasn't in the movie, but like whatever. We have the money. Let's do a World War I biplane, turn him into a Decepticon, right? And
Well,
Hubcap.
You got to
just
remember
like-
this. Some of these. Sorry, like I don't want to. Sorry to stop you there for a second. But you got to remember some of these vehicles. They were in the movies, especially that one there. But like for example, when they went to look for Jetfire, right? They just couldn't transform it anymore because they had the lack of energon and they ran out, right? And that's why he made that joke about the transformer that turned into a wheel.
Yeah, the very first wheel, but did so with dignity.
Right. So so that particular plane was actually, if you look at the old space when they went to the space museum, spaceship or space whatever museum, there,
Oh,
that
right.
figure was there.
Smithsonian.
Thank you. Right. That plane that figure, well, that plane was there, right? So it could have been that particular figure right there that you're holding in your hand, but I just don't remember that one. Like, that's pretty
Showdown
cool.
of
I
the
would
old
pick that up.
timers.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's thematic.
Nice.
Yeah, I talked about this guy.
You gotta talk about the other guy now.
I should. I'll put him on the short list because I'm like the old movie scouts are a good time. Yeah. And we already talked about that guy. big elaborate statue.
All right, so that leaves us to get into the tech specs realm.
This is where I'm going to tell the audience. This portion here is sponsored by Anthony, and he's going to be doing a lot of talking. So, get ready.
Am I going into my? I need
this
to
show's all about you, man. This show is really dedicated to Anthony. All right, so.
Okay, I didn't think I was going on the spot.
Yeah, so I guess we should have get Halls as a sponsor for this part here, because you're gonna be rambling on this, and I'll tell you that right now.
Oh my gosh, let me just
throat lodger. There you go.
Okay, here we go. I found a source
water.
Yeah,
with an NTFA.
A TF archive for Beast Wars specifically. All right, let me just
I was gonna.
Okay, Bill. Seriously, Bill.
Get Ratchet.
Look, Bill from Facebook here. My room's a wreck. I opened to 50 to 70 figures this week. Boxes everywhere.
I could never open that many figures at once. I like even my haul when I got back from TFCon and it was huge. I was like, I spaced these out, I was like, I opened like one a week.
He's definitely a fat kid in a candy shop. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Let's look at how Ratchet was originally written. Ratchet was his phrase was, "You break it, I'll remake it." Ratchet was the best tool and die man on Cybertron. In his work bay on Earth, he can make anything from a pin to a missile. He repairs injured Autobots given the right parts. He likes to party and give back talk, but does any job as well as anyone. Has laser scalpels, arc welders, electron microscopes, circuit sensors, and fluid dispensers at his disposal. Sometimes his having a good time interferes with his effectiveness. See, there's two lines there about how he's a party guy right there in the bio.
Although they kind of kept his give back talk. They kind of kept that within his personality.
Oh yeah.
At least in Prime, I don't recall that as much in G1 though.
Yeah, I like how unratchety it is to say him having a good time interferes with his effectiveness. When does he ever have a good time? When is he never focused on his job?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's just funny, and it was like he was supposed to be like this, but then life happened to him, and he just stopped being like that.
Well, now that we've done Ratchet, I'm wondering about Wheeljack.
Yeah, what does it say about him? Wheeljack is the mad scientist of the Autobots. Oh, he's a mechanical engineer. His quote is, "Never do what your enemy expects you to do." Wheeljack is the mad scientist of the Autobots, always inventing new weapons and gadgets. Most adept at driving well in car mode. Likes to show off his stunts. Flying range of 800 miles using solid fuel rockets in his arms. Shoots magnetic inducer, shrapnel needle, and gyro inhibitor shells from his shoulder cannons. He is his own worst enemy. Often injured while experimenting with new weapons. Okay, this guy didn't get changed much at all. That's pretty much correct right out of the gate.
That's true.
Yeah. I've seen, isn't there like a well-known GIF of the moment in Sunbow where he's about to fire a gun and then it explodes on him?
Yeah, they kind of what is it? If it's the same one, I think there's another one where he says he creates this new gun and it blows up, and then they show the scene from the movie with him and Cliff Jumper, where like they're laying dead on the ground.
Oh, I found it. I'm gonna let me get it up on screen. Gotta blow this up nice and big, and then I'll put the screen up here. Just share screen, window, and there we are. That is the distilled essence of Wheeljack.
That's funny. I've never seen that one.
Which was this? I don't remember that.
That is one of Wheeljack's own weapons exploding on him. And we were talking about his bio note was pretty accurate to what he was always like, because it was like, it's his own worst enemy because his experiments always blow up in his face. And I was like, yeah, just like this.
Oh, wow. But did someone created that on their own, or is that from an episode? Because I don't remember that.
That's a good question. I thought it was from an episode, but if you guys don't recognize it, maybe somebody made it.
No, this looks created. I mean, it's the details a little bit better than the cartoon.
Yeah. Well, whoever did it, like that's pretty accurate to the show.
Well, someone just animated the deleted scenes from the movie. And I've been slowly putting that out.
I've been seeing works in progress about that, like the bit with Ultra Magnus unloading the Carbots to fight Devastator and stuff.
Yes, which leads into the scene with Megatron and Optimus.
Yeah, it's been really interesting to me as somebody who like knows the movie specifically way too much.
Yep. Actually,
hold on, sorry, I just drifted up there for a second. Are you talking about like the Bay verse? Someone's actually
No, the '86 movie.
Oh, okay.
There were several storyboarded sequences that have been known for years, and somebody is taking it upon themselves now to finally animate some of those scenes that were storyboarded but never drawn.
Oh, okay. Because I had some PTSDs when you guys were talking about that. Because all I'm seeing is how many more of Sam Witwicky going B Prime, like screaming every 2 seconds, right? So it's like
wrong film.
I'm like, oh my god, more of that.
I went back to Ratchet just for a second to see where his rank is. And his rank is 7.
Oh yeah, interesting. So that's not the highest.
No. But then going to Wheeljack, his rank is 8.
Oh, so he outranks Ratchet.
He outranks Ratchet, but yet, Ratchet's been given the leadership role.
Yeah. Who ranks higher, Jazz or Prowl?
Jazz.
Yeah, Jazz. I think Jazz is his second command.
Yeah.
But it's always been debated. Mm-hmm.
The Marvel comic portrayed Prowl as taking over when Optimus was incapacitated most of the time.
No, there's a few times that in the G1 cartoon, there was a few times where Optimus will tell Jazz, okay, Jazz, call the rollout or the roll call, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's like a sergeant, like a field
Yeah,
marshal.
yeah.
Yeah, so he's an 8. So that is above Ratchet. Um, but what's Prowl at?
All right, let's see. What is
Hold
Prowl
on.
saying?
I was about to read that. Thanks.
Oh, you want me to read that? Function Special Operations Agent. Do it with style or don't bother doing it. Jazz loves Earth culture, always looking to learn more. His knowledge of Earth makes him the indispensable right-hand man to Optimus Prime.
Right there.
Takes the most dangerous missions. Very cool, very stylish, very competent. Equipped with a photon rifle, flamethrower, full spectrum beacon, 180 decibel stereo speakers. Creates dazzling, disorienting sound and light shows. Versatile, clever, daring, but prone to be distracted. I'm just thinking about how like the dazzling light shows was like a superpower on the show. He'd just sometimes break out.
Mhm.
So, can you basically say that Jazz in the original show, like let's just say season 1, was actually the counterpart to Soundwave?
Possibly before Blaster showed up.
Yeah.
Possibly, yep.
Because I'm
All
like,
right.
everybody makes a big deal about Blaster.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so his rank is 9. So he does outrank everybody except Optimus.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because I was going to say, that would make sense. Because in Marvel, because the early Marvel stuff I've been reading for the book club, Prowl takes over when Optimus is gone. And Budiansky wrote the bios and the Marvel comic. So he'd know because he created these stats, basically, right?
Right.
But it's funny, but you see what it said about Jazz,
Yeah.
the right hand man of Optimus Prime.
Yeah, that's interesting. And like, but same guy wrote that bio too. This guy outranks him and takes over, but Jazz is the right hand man. It's interesting.
So okay, let's read what he says here then.
Uh, Function military strategist. Logic is the ultimate weapon. Prowl will keep at a task for as long as it takes. He strives to find reason and logic in everything. A listener, not a talker. Has most sophisticated logic center of all the Autobots. Able to analyze and advise on complex combat situations almost instantaneously. Fires wire-guided incendiary missiles and high corrosive acid pellets. The unexpected can often scramble his circuits.
So he would be the counterpart to Shockwave.
Yeah, basically, he's the rational strategist.
Interesting. Interesting.
And yeah, you know, with all the bios, he you know, Bob created a strong and a strong side for each character and an Achilles heel for each of them.
Yeah.
You know, which is kind of comedic when you go through and read through some of them. You know, because then Prowl is you know, unexpected things scramble the circuits. Jazz gets distracted. You know, Ratchet being the party guy.
Yeah.
It's you know, those things that are overlooked or you forget about, and it's like, yeah, like each of these characters have a slight flaw to them.
Yeah.
I'm amazed about his firepower.
Yeah.
You figure with a character that has 2 rockets on the
Yeah,
side of
you're
his
right.
head there.
And
So
a
his firepower is
gun.
only at 4. Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, you got these 2 major rockets right next to his head, and his firepower is only like a 4. Wow. What was Jazz?
Yeah,
Sorry,
good question.
it's whiskey time. Gotta fight the Cobra.
Wow.
5.
He's a 5.
His
Yeah,
skill
none
is
of these
10.
guys have. Yeah, okay, so at least he has good skill.
Well, you know, I could see in terms of Prowl being the military strategist, even though he has the lesser firepower, he'll organize whichever guys have the better firepower to go into battle.
Mm-hmm.
But look at his strengths. His strengths is a 5, where power is much higher.
Mm-hmm. I guess Jazz just gets by because he's really skilled.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, his courage is 9. Like he just runs into a battle. Well, since we did Ratchet and Wheeljack, I'm wondering about Grapple.
Oh, the other smart guy.
Yeah.
Beauty is in everything except war, says this architect. On Cybertron, his buildings are considered works of art. On Earth, his ideas are limited by war. He takes pride in his work, but is prone to severe depression if they're destroyed in battle.
Oh, didn't that happen? That happened in
Yeah.
that one episode with him and Hoist.
It
Yeah.
did.
With the construction con and all that stuff for that tower that he went to build.
Yeah. As
So
a
there we go.
crane, he can lift up to 35-ton objects and position it with precision and grace. As a robot, has a high-temperature arc-welded rifle. Can launch rockets 4.5 miles from wrist sockets. Prone to breakdowns in vehicle mode. Like, I know what they meant, but I'm just imagining it's an extension of his depression.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that's why you'd always partner up with Hoist.
Yeah.
Constant breaking down.
Well, let's see what Hoist is saying.
Hold on. So let's go back to his text back
Stats.
there. So
Mhm.
yeah, so strength is a 8. His intelligence is an 8.
Really
Are we
low
keeping
speed.
scores?
No.
We should keep scores on the intelligence side of it, right? So has all of them been 8s?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
Well, we suck here. That's why we're goofy guys. And we got skills at a 9. So I'm looking at intelligent. So we should look at intelligent and skills.
Well, I mean,
Is there a third thing we should look at?
he's an architect, essentially.
Yeah,
so
I'm
it's,
talking about his rant. Let's look at his things here. We're talking about test specs. So we look at his skills, intelligence. Do we look at rank as well too then?
interesting. His rank is 7. He's
Yeah.
just up there with he's up there with like Ratchet in a sense.
All right. So now we're gonna go to Hoist, the other smart guy.
All right. Hoist. Function maintenance. You have to be rolling before you can be fighting. No exceptions. All Autobots must submit to his maintenance schedule. Knows they must operate at peak efficiency in battle. Jovial, enjoys his job and is good at it. Will find any problem from engine overhaul to the smallest leaky gasket. As a tow truck, hauls 40,000 pounds. As a robot, very strong. Launches heat-seeking missiles from wrist sockets. Full spectrum multi-sensor behind his head determines an object's composition, density, tensile strength, and energy properties. So he's like, Ratchet's like the surgeon. This guy's like the family doctor. That's the impression I always got.
Yeah. And he
Yeah, but
can
look at
carry
his
up to 40
intelligence,
tons.
6.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but look at his intelligence.
Well,
That's 6.
maybe he's got more street smarts than book smarts.
But then again, look at his skills are a 9.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And his rank is a 4.
Maybe that's the difference between intelligence and skill. Intelligence is book smarts, skill is street smarts. That's how I'd like to define it.
Oh, it makes sense. I get that.
That makes sense.
It's like college and university, right?
Yeah.
So you got
So
these
if-
guys who
so-
are doctors, but but we know that's where their intelligence lies.
Mm-hmm.
So my question to you is this then. If you wanted, okay, let's just say you're an Autobot, you got injured, severely injured.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we're not done yet. We still have red alert.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh boy, Red Alert's gonna have a comedy bio for sure.
Now, will the whole Protectobots be under this as well?
Yeah, they're on here.
Red alert. Function security director. Caution can never be overused. Nothing escapes his notice, no matter how small. When his sensors are activated, he thinks trouble is coming. Edgy, unpopular with his comrades, but appreciated. Can trigger alarms in other Autobots. Excellent sensory perception. Fast in vehicular mode. Carries 25-mile range rocket launcher and particle beam rifle. Prone to rash judgments which can lead to injury to himself and his comrades.
Yep, they got him right in the cartoon.
So they
I like
got a
how they're just like,
7 for
nobody likes
intelligence.
him.
So he's a 7th in intelligence, 8 in skills, and rank 7. So let's just say these are the main guys that actually fixes everybody, right? I don't remember really the Protectobots fixing people, but Red Alert, Ratchet, Hoist,
First aid.
First aid. That's another guy we got to look at.
Okay, let's see what First Aid is saying.
Remember, he was even like sort of handpicked to be Ratchet's replacement in More Than Meets the Eye.
Yeah.
Which I know in Hotspot's bio, it's they almost commend him for the fact that they have like 2 pacifists on the team and he can still bring them into battle.
Yeah. Okay. First aid, function doctor. An ounce of maintenance is worth a pound of cure. Hates seeing any machine in pain, even those who don't know it, like a broken street lamp or an overheated car. Compassionate and cautious. Will restrict an Autobot to repair bay for faulty directional signal. Carries dual-barreled decrystallizer cannon. Weakens metal by disrupting crystalline structure and photon pistol. Fist shoot laser beams used for welding and surgery. With fellow Protectobots combines to form Defensor.
Okay, so Red Alert, First Aid, Ratchet, Hoist, Wheeljack. Who's the yellow guy again? Grapple. So you got 7 guys there that can fix you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Out of those 7 guys, who would you prefer? Like, so if you're an Autobot, you're injured severely. Out of those 7 guys, who would you pick then?
Ratchet.
Yeah, I'd stick with Ratchet or First Aid.
I'm conflicted between Wheeljack and Hoist.
I don't know about Wheeljack though. I mean, you might wake up in you've got like extra weaponry that just ends up backfiring on you.
Yeah, I'm gonna say like Wheeljack is a hazard.
Yeah,
but that's the whole point.
You wake
I'm
up
going down. I'm taking everybody with me. You know what I mean?
Just like, why do I have 8 fingers on one hand now?
Yeah, Ratchet, what did you do?
Well, those other finger guys that will come off as rockets and blow those guys up. There you go.
I'm like, well, my shoulder's still dislocated, but I can shoot my fist now.
There you go. So you're gonna go through all the Protectobots, aren't you?
Oh, that's a motto. Okay, his function is air support. War is a dirty game, and I'm a dirty player.
I like this guy already.
Nice.
Basically a street fighter. The writing on this. Basically a street fighter.
He's a Ric Flair. Woo!
Prefers using rotor blades for slashing Decepticons rather than flying. Considered long-range air attacks unsporting and cowardly. Maximum speed 400 miles per hour. Range 1,200 miles. Twin launchers fire smart rockets that seek targets based on encoded computer images. Uses a photon pistol. Combines to form Defensor.
I like this guy. So his intelligence is 6.
You know what? He sounds
7.
like he sounds similar to which aerial bot is it? Slingshot.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate they didn't really give Blades like any type of roles or lines in the cartoon, because this guy's just like he just wants to fight.
I love it, man. Look at this guy. Look, he has blasters on his legs. He has like blasters in his hands. He got like 4 blades to chop you up. He's good in my books.
Well, let's see. So we've done First Aid Blades. That leaves Streetwise, Grooves, and Hotspot. So let's do Streetwise.
Okay, so we got Professor D here. It says he loves the show. I wish he could be part of it. I love the Protectobots. I just ordered the new First Aid by MMC.
Oh, I know some people that are going gaga about that.
Pulled it up, and I think it's better than the than the also upcoming XFB version.
Yeah, those Protectobots are beautiful.
All right. Streetwise, you think he's from Gina Finch?
All right. Function Interceptor. You have to. It makes me think of the Mad Max car.
Wow.
You have to know where you are before you know what to do. Nothing escapes his notice. Amazing capacity to adapt to understand his environment. Clever and determined, nothing deters him from seeking his prey, except an empty fuel tank. Again, it's the Road Warrior.
Yep.
As a car, has a powerful double-mounted air compressor cannon with 50-mile range. As a robot, uses a blinding photon pistol. Forms defensor. Sometimes overheats as a car.
I was just going to say, I mean, so far out of the three of them, there was like no known weaknesses. Dave, Streetwise has a weakness.
Yeah, but look at his intelligence is a 9.
Yeah.
Look at his courage is a 9. His firepower is a 7. His skills are a 7.
He's a strong boy.
Wow.
So again, you've got like another scrapper, and it's
but he's supposed to be protecting you.
Yeah.
Like he's from Gina Finch.
So they just really never put focus on that.
They never really did. If you really think about it, who did they talk about in the Protectobots in the cartoon? It was either
it was First Aid mostly.
First Aid mostly, because there was that one big episode of him just being a big coward.
And
Hotspot
a couple times.
Yeah.
Where's he at? Let's put him up. Unless we want to talk about Groove to finish the small guys, but
yeah, let's go to Groove and then Hotspot at the end.
Actually, right. Groove first.
Groovy. You think he's groovy? I think he's groovy.
Groove me, baby. All right. Function Scout. War is a problem, never a solution. War. Good God, man. What is it good for? Anyway.
I think he needs to talk to Psycho. I think him and Psycho should have a conversation.
A full tank, clear skies, open road. That's all he wants out of life. Relaxed, easygoing, happy wherever he is. A pacifist. Difficult for him to accept his role as a part of the Protectobot team. Speed 140 miles per hour. Range 800 miles. Uses twin vaporators which shoot mists of oxidizing, freezing, and corrosive liquids. And a photon pistol. Combines with fellow Protectobots to form Defensor.
Okay, so let's stop right there. So he's another pacifist.
I'm going to see if you're going what I'm thinking.
Okay, I'm sure we are then. Why did they not put him in that same position when they were doing that story with First Aid?
Yeah, that really is interesting.
Why didn't they have him at First Aid say, you know what, we don't want to be part of the Protectobots anymore?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, we're gonna denounce our our membership to the Protectobots, and we're not gonna form Defensor.
Now he has no arms. Groove is in the heart.
I know.
Yeah, Professor D. Yep.
But then again, his intelligence is a 9, and his skills is an 8.
Yeah.
D. Groovy.
I know, D. Groovy.
Autobots got lots of cowards. Who are the top 7?
Oh gosh.
We should do that. Top 7 cowards on the Autobots.
Yeah, we gotta. That will take some time. Yeah, that would be interesting to look up. But I think I have more respect now for Hotspot than I did even before. The fact that he's got basically in a sense. Well, okay. I mean, we for two
cowards and 2
hotheads.
Yeah,
exactly. 2 pacifists.
So that makes one
2 hotheads.
that's like normal.
Yeah,
it balances out.
Exactly, it balances out so that, but then you wonder, it's like how does Defensor keep it together for the fact that half of him really doesn't want to be in the battle, the other half just wants to like take out anything that moves.
Mhm.
I'm
And
sure those two hotheads are telling these two cowards, "Hey, get your shit together, otherwise we're gonna bring you the back over there and give you an
But
ass
it
beating."
doesn't work for Ministor because that's the exact same thing happening in Ministor's mind, and it gets to the point that even Decepticons are afraid of him because
Because
he'll just lose it.
they put him on mute.
Mhm. Maybe it's because the Protectobots are like perfectly balanced in terms of temperaments, because they're like, yeah, the two hotheads and the two pacifists, you know. So it's perfectly balanced.
But yeah, what happens if the pacifist leaves? So he'd be missing an arm and a foot.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mike, were we thinking the same then?
Yeah, we were.
Okay, there we go.
Hotspot function Protectobot leader. Rust never sleeps, and neither do I. Likes to be where the action is. Charismatic, inspiring. Other Protectobots have difficulty keeping up with his non-stop pace. Believes in being maximally operational every moment of one's life. His fire truck hose shoots high-pressure water 1,200 feet. As a robot, can press 60,000 pounds. Uses fireball cannons that shoot bursts of 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Blue flame 1.5 miles. With his fellow Protectobots forms Defensor. I like how he sort of does sound kind of Optimus-like, because he's like,
Mhm.
charismatic and inspiring,
Well,
believes
his
in
strength
being
is
your
a
best.
9.
Yeah.
Yeah, but here's the funny part: is look, his strength is a 9, but look at his intelligence. It's a 7.
Hmm.
But his rank is a 7. His endurance is a 9. His courage is a 9. Okay, fine. And then you look at his skills are 6. I figure his skills and his intelligence would be much higher than that, because in order to keep, the group together, being the
Mhm.
leader. Interesting.
Well, let's see how it
Interesting.
plays
Like,
out
does it go
for
back to what D and I were talking about from last show?
in terms of being the strongest to lead.
Well, not just only
Mhm.
the strongest, but like being you don't have like being strong, but you don't have to be that smart kind of thing to be a leader.
Right.
Mhm. Oh, yeah. A Defensor. I guess he did get a proper gift set, so that's be where his tech specs are. His function is Super Warrior. As long as one innocent being is threatened, none are truly free. Views humans as if they were his own children. Will
Oh,
expend his last drop of fuel to protect them. Seeks human friendship, but humans fear his hulking mechanical form. Can lift 300,000 pounds with one hand. Impervious to most artillery. Can surround himself with a force field for brief periods. Carries a fireball cannon. Shoots 2,000-degree bursts of blue fire 1.5 miles.
So in the cartoon, they did showcase his force field.
Yeah. I recall
so
that.
he's Children of Earth.
Yeah.
Interesting. Sorry, who was his main rival again?
He
Uh,
didn't.
Wait,
Did he
no,
have
not
one?
Bruticus.
Was it Bruticus?
Well, like he
Technically,
sort of, but like he's the one that blew up Bruticus and bot. So like, I guess, but it's kind of like by default.
Oh, okay.
yeah, because like that one episode, he defeated Bruticus, but yeah, by default, Bruticus would have been his rival.
Mhm.
Because I thought it was Bruticus, but I wasn't sure
Yeah, it's just
because
that Defensor was introduced really late, and his spotlight episode was in the
yeah,
third season. So by the
Mhm.
time he showed up, Bruticus's like spotlight episodes had already happened. So that's why they didn't really get much of a rivalry.
interesting. But I got D here. D says asking for something to be pulled up. Professor D on YouTube, pull up images of the upcoming 3P hotspot and say which you think is better, MMC versus XTB.
Which one's the perfect transformation one? Because I know people are going gaga about that set. Art of
Yep.
Transformation. Yeah.
I'll let you guys pull that up. I'm gonna step away for a moment.
All right,
All
we
right.
have Professor D is saying it's Bruticus. That is Defensor main competitor. Are we gonna do any Beast Wars tech specs?
I was wondering about that. I pulled them up after you guys brought it up. I didn't think we were doing that today, but I can go ahead and look at them because there was that interesting thing about how the early ones were just ignored by the show and nobody's quite sure why.
So let's talk. Well, let's talk about that then. And okay, you know what, D, we're gonna hold off a little bit about the other specs until Mike comes back. And so let's talk a little bit about the tech specs for Beast Wars, and I'll let you go at it on that, and then we'll talk about it. You know,
So I was
when we
gonna
actually
say.
see the tech specs. So I'm
yeah,
going to hold on 1 second. Let's do this here. I don't like that one. There we go. And then we'll get those on. So you were saying Beast Wars, they didn't have proper tech specs at the very beginning?
Oh no, they did. They had tech specs pretty much from the drop.
Okay.
They did get rid of quotes for whatever reason, but like, you know, it's whatever.
But elaborate, because you were saying something.
Oh, okay. Yes, I was saying something.
Yeah. What was that something?
So you know how like a lot of these bios, they sort of tell a story, right? And the early Beast Wars bios, plus a comic that the original Optimus and Megatron 2-pack came with, told a completely different story. Where the Transformers conflict was set on Earth in the present day with like cities and humans around, and a lot of characters were written in those bios differently than they would eventually appear on the show. Like Tarantulas was a ninja warrior. Waspinator was like a really deadly threat instead of like a complete joke. And then the show came out and ignored all of that and told its own story, you know, where they're on a mystery planet with no humans or cities and everybody's written a bit differently. And eventually
Can I just stop you right there?
Mm-hmm.
So are you saying that was there a comic book series before the TV show?
No, there was a single pack-in comic that came with the Bat Optimus and Crocodile Megatron 2-pack.
Right. Because I remember that. I remember that commercial, and there was a whole conversation about that, saying how come they went away from that, the crocodile and the bat, versus the T-Rex and the ape. And they had a whole explanation, all that. I just wanted to stop you there for a second because I just wanted to make sure, because you know, before the cartoon, the G1s came out, there was a comic book series, right? So I'm just wondering if the comic book series was actually based on the bat and the crocodile, and that's why the tech specs are a bit different. So I just want to get a clarification on that in case we, you know, before you go further. So continue.
So you had that one-off short little comic that came with those two, and you had these bio notes, and it was like something completely different. And then the show started airing and it ignored all that, and nobody's really sure why, like if the writers made that decision or if they just weren't given those materials and just did their own thing. And then like later on in Beast Wars, the bios would start to reference the show instead, because the show got popular and everybody knew that. So like they would start talking about the mystery planet they were on and stuff. But the early Beast Wars bios are kind of interesting because of how like different they are from what it would eventually be.
Okay, so let's circle back for a second. I know why, you know why, but maybe some of our viewers don't know why. So why did Beast Wars decided to go away from Optimus Prime being a bat and Megatron being a crocodile?
Well, basically,
just quick.
The TV show had a limited 90s CGI was expensive. The amount of character models they could create were limited, so they had to pick and choose very carefully. So since they also released big Guerrilla and T-Rex Megatrons, they decided to just have those ones be the ones they would spend their money on putting on the show, since they were the big expensive figures. So they just started with those ones instead. Whereas the toy line did both the little ones that were a crocodile and a bat and the big ones at the same time.
All right. See, one of the reasons why I thought, and you're absolutely correct, don't get me wrong, but at the original, before I got into that whole finding out why, right? I thought it was because Optimus Prime being a bat, sometimes you relate a bat being more of a villain versus a good guy. And if you look at right, and if you look at historically, Dracula, and then if you look at Transformers, you had Mind Wipe and what's called and Rat Bat and so forth, right? And they're always considered as villains. So I thought originally that was the reason why they decided to go with a gorilla versus a bat for Optimus Prime.
Yeah, well,
that
it's funny
because
Kenner made those, and Kenner was also handling the Batman toys at the time. So Optimus Primal being a bat could have been seen as a reference to that.
Right. That is correct. You know what? I didn't realize it until you mentioned that now.
Yeah, it's fine. I could talk about it's like, can we share my screen? Because I found the page that has all the Beast Wars bios.
Okay, Rory.
Let me.
Can you not open up another one? Like I'll spin it. Like he has like 2 viewers.
There we go.
Here we go. So I'm gonna add you.
Oh, you can pop it up. Okay.
Yeah.
The first thing I wanted to note was that the tiny versions of Optimus and Megatron had funny bios because they were actually just really long quotes.
The only thing I'm going to ask you, can you enlarge your view? Because it's probably like at 100 if you could do like 125 or something like that.
How's this look? Wait.
A little bit more. A little bit more. A little bit more. A little bit more. There we go.
Okay. And Optimus Primal has all 10s across the board stats wise, of course. Oh no, his firepower is only 7. Probably because he only has swords. And this is the early one, right? His Optimus Primal function maximal general, and it's a really long quote instead of a bio. The Maximals and I have no choice but to stop Megatron and his Predacon minions before they destroy us all. Freedom may be the right of all sentient beings, but to protect the greater good, we must vanquish the Earth from these evil Predacon creatures. It won't be easy, but nothing worthwhile ever is.
He's a little bit more hardcore than Optimus.
Yeah. Let me find Megatron's initial bio too.
See, that's the other thing that I always like. He originally had swords, right?
Yeah.
And I was always surprised about that. But then after that, when he went through that whole transmetal, that's when he started getting a blaster, right?
Yeah.
I always question how come they didn't continue with the swords.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the tiny crocodile Megatron. Mostly his stats aren't great. He's got 9 intelligence, 9 courage, 7 firepower. That's surprising for a leader. Okay, so his function is Predacon commander, and his long quote is prosper or perish is the Predacon way of life, and we plan to survive by driving the Maximals into extinction. That bat-brained Optimus Primal thinks he can challenge our strength, but he has yet to feel the painful punishment I'll give him as I sink my teeth into his furry flesh. He may still be a robot on the inside, but on the outside, he's my lunch. People like to say that this version of Megatron was like a wrestler doing promo.
I like that, but you see, look at the funny part is,
yeah.
Optimus is a general, and this guy's here the commander.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So who was the commander at that time then?
Yeah, that's a good question, because this is the weird early thing where like these guys were supposed to be the faction leaders instead of the show where they were just like random people.
Yeah, because exactly. So I'm curious.
Yeah,
because even in the TV show, if you think about it, right? There were like a ragtag team, right? So
yeah,
I would like to know who was the leader then, or who was the commander at that time.
Yeah. Well, let me see what the larger ones say, because these were still written, like, this is still weird early stuff, but these are the forms that appeared on the show, right? And is Guerrilla Optimus, and he's got all 10s across the board. And, he's still Maximal General. And so here's his proper bio note. It says, move over, King Kong. Optimus Primal is ready to rock. The heroic leader has biogenetically re-engineered his body structure into a gargantuan robotic gorilla. See, he's supposed to be huge, like not regular gorilla sized.
Yeah.
Cybernetically fused musculature has enhanced strength to superpowered levels. Shoulder-mounted Mega Blast missile cannons launch devastating attacks upon foolish Predacon invaders. When they force him to fight, they force him to win.
You see his firepower?
Yeah, it's 10.
Yeah.
He has 10s across the board. This is so 90s. It's just all full of attitude.
Ooh, yeah. But the funny thing is, again, general, not commander.
Yeah, and this guy's still Predacon commander.
Go back up. Look at his challenge. It's a 9.
Oh my gosh, it's 9 instead of 10. This is how you know this wasn't being used for the show, because on the show his whole thing was he was a schemer,
Yep. Well, look what happened when they went back to Cybertron, right?
Yeah, he took over the place.
There you go.
Yeah. Predacon Megatron, function Predacon Commander. Here we go. Millions of years ago, Tyrannosaurus Rex ruled the Earth. Today, Megatron plans to do the same, duplicating dinosaur DNA stolen from human research labs. The evil leader has re-engineered his body structure and equipped it with fearsome high-tech firepower. Poisonous paralyzer fluids blast from his gaping jaws, while his powerful pincher claw can cut an enemy in half. Be afraid, Earthlings. Be very, very afraid.
That's
this
crazy.
is... Yeah, see, so this is what I was talking about. This is the early stuff that the show didn't go with. Like, this is talking about he stole this from humans. He is on Earth, threatening humans. Like, this is meant to be like a straight G1 sequel, basically.
So here's my question to you now. After just reading this, right?
Yeah.
Because obviously this is not season 3.
Yeah.
So in season 3, yes, spoiler, the whole thing was a plot for organic and metal to fuse together, right?
Yeah. Well, you're talking about Beast Machines, right? The sequel show.
Yeah, but like season 3, like when it all ended, it ended, of Cybertron being half organic and half metal, right?
Yeah. Well, Beast Machines only had 2 seasons.
Okay. So hold on. So Beast Machine has 2 seasons, but season 2 was the ending of that whole series, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why I say season 3, because season 1 when they're on Earth. Hold on, when they were on Earth, how many seasons were there?
3.
3. Okay, so
and
5
then Beast
seasons.
Machines had 2. Yeah, 5 seasons basically.
Okay, so the 5th season. Okay, so the 5th season, was the ending of the show, right? So that the whole climate was, of the organic and metal, merging together. But it's funny here is that look what they're talking about, like DNA stolen.
Yeah.
And that whole organic being merged, even with Optimus Primal, same thing as well too. What they're saying about him, and so it's funny that when you read this, it's almost right preluding right to the ending of the show itself. Like it's kind of giving it away a bit, right?
Yeah, it is kind of funny how it eventually circled back around to being relevant again.
And then you have King Kong versus Godzilla.
Yeah, that is sort of what's going on here. It's a reference to King Kong fighting T-Rexes.
Right.
I'm gonna find some of the weird ones. The characters that talked more about Earth and humanity. Yeah, right. Rat Trap was one of them. Well, now look at his stats, right? Strength is 6, intelligence is 7, speed is 8, endurance is 5. He's really weak. Yeah, wow. His rank is 5. Courage 8, firepower 6, skill 7. His stats are like all pretty mediocre. But yet on the show, I mean, if this was trying to be accurate to the show, they'd make his skill like 10 because that's what got him through everything, you know.
Exactly.
But yeah, function spy. Scouring city streets for Predacon enemies, Rat Trap maintains his strength by feeding on grunge and grime and any wretched refuse he may encounter along the way. A top notch soldier, his fellow Maximals rely on his reconnaissance reports to locate enemy outposts. They respect him, but they wouldn't dare share his meals. See, this is just like totally unlike what the show did, which is why I find it so interesting.
So, yeah, because you never really. Okay, so I'm sorry, I'm just pausing and I'm looking into my brain and I'm trying to remember. Did you ever see them eat Energon?
No, one time he ate an apple. That's about it.
See that it's funny because it's like reading this bio and then thinking about, wait a minute, were they collecting Energons? Did you see them make any Energon cubes or something similar to it? And I don't
Well,
recall that at all.
Yeah, well, they were there on that planet that they were on because it had large amounts of energon in crystal
Right.
form, and later on some cubes.
But did you ever see them like do the same thing? Like, okay, I'm just trying to give some kind of reference, like our G1, like G1 is all pure energon cubes, right?
Mhm.
And you see the Autobots eating it because that's their source of fuel, right?
Yeah,
But I don't recall seeing that at all. Like you will know better than me because I didn't watch the whole entire episodes, right? So
hmm
I don't recall seeing that. Was there anything similar to that?
oh yeah, yeah. They had it. They were always after energon crystals, and they would always, but they didn't like eat them or anything. They just like power up on them.
And how do they power it up on it?
Like sometimes like the crystals would like shock them. Like one point, Pterosaur got juiced on them and tried to take over everything because he was super powered.
What, like by touching it?
Yeah,
Okay, that's weird.
yeah,
No, I'm just saying, like based on like how you said, these bios are nothing how it is on the shows,
yeah.
right? Like this guy's eating
Eating
other,
garbage in
yeah,
cities that he patrols. There's
right,
no cities in Beast Wars, the show.
exactly. So I'm thinking when he was back in Cybertron, I guess I don't know, right? But
Yeah.
you never see like again, just you never see them eating. Like I never saw them any episodes that I saw. Let
Oh,
me rephrase that to make sure. Any episodes I never saw them eating at all.
they made a big deal about that on Beast Machines.
Okay.
Because they get their new bodies and they locate Night Scream the Bat, and he's in a place with fruit. And Optimus is like, "We should eat this fruit." And Cheetor's like, "What? We don't. We fuel up on energon. Period." Right. So them in Beast Machines with those techno organic bodies they got. That was like the first time they like ate food.
Okay. All right. So something I learned. Here we go.
Yeah.
Next.
Okay. So
Let's go
another
through them
interesting.
all. There's only what? There's not that many, I guess, right?
Oh, remember, there's a lot of them that weren't on the show.
Okay.
So like, especially if we get into later stuff, like there's a lot of them.
Well, let's go through the ones that were on the show.
Yeah, Tarantulas is interesting because if you know his role in the show, he's a scientist. He's a mad
Yeah.
scientist.
Yeah. He was like
And-
the shockwave.
Yeah, he was the Shockwave.
Yeah.
His original toy bio, his intelligence is 4.
How's that possible?
It's because the show writers ignored this, right? They just like did whatever. They're like, oh, we're gonna make this guy the scientist.
So okay, so my question to you is this then. Again, I'm a fan not knowing anything here, right? So
yeah,
in this particular, okay, and so on these bios, these original bios, then who was the scientist then?
That's a good question. I'd have to think about that.
All right, so let's move forward.
Actually, I have one question.
Oh, Mike's back. Spin's back.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess unless I missed it earlier, in terms of the time frame of when Beast Wars exists, I guess between the cartoon and between these original bios that are written, when does Beast Wars the characters exist in terms of like Earth's time frame?
That's what I was gonna say. these bios seem to indicate that they're supposed to be on present day Earth, right? Because they talk about humans, they talk about cities. Megatron steals his T-Rex DNA from a human lab. Rat Trap patrols cities, right?
Right.
But then the TV show ignored that and said they come from 300 years later after the end of the Great War, and then they travel to a like a planet through time and space that's just like a primitive world, right?
A Back to the Future kind of thing.
Yeah. I was going to say, so adding more funniness to how different this bio is, not only is Tarantulas, his intelligence is 4, but his function is Ninja Warrior.
See, but here's a funny. See, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But going back to what Mike said
Yeah.
and what you just said about this is supposed to be present time Earth.
Yeah.
So you're telling me the whole premise of being Transformers is to be hidden, right? More than meets the eyes, right? They're supposed to be in disguise.
Yeah.
So if you got an ape that's the size of King Kong.
Yeah, they said that in Optimus's bio. They said he's huge.
Right. And you have a T-Rex. You know what I mean? You have this tarantula.
Tarantulas.
And then you have Rat Trap.
Yeah.
Like, how big are they?
Well, you can get away with the T-Rex, because I mean T-Rexes were huge, but Rat Trap, he's a New York City rat.
Yeah. He's like the size of a large dog, basically.
Right. So you have a size of a large dog versus Optimus Primal, which is the size of King Kong.
Yeah.
And you're telling me how at any point in time he's like, oops, did I step on you, Rat Trap? I didn't see you there. You know what I mean?
So this is perhaps why we don't know if this was intentional or if they weren't handed these materials. Well, that's perhaps a reason why the TV show writers ignored this concept and were like, they need these as protection against the Energon on this planet. Like, forget disguises. That's what we're going with instead.
So we have to give, like, just so far what we've learned from these bios, right?
Yeah.
We have to give credit to the show writers.
Yeah.
To say, screw it. And again, they're a bunch of Canadians. Screw it. We're not going to listen to these bios, or we're not going to even bother reading it, and we're just going to make up our own thing because
that is 100% what happened. Yeah. But anyway, let me finish this one because it's funny.
Okay. All right.
Tarantula, who they would later decide was going to be the scientist, intelligence of 4. His function is Ninja Warrior. He's an 8-armed master of the martial arts. This ninja nightmare slashes his way through the battle virtually unstoppable. The heroic Optimus Primal suspects him of being responsible for the disappearance of numerous Earthlings, and recent rumors suggest the existence of giant cocoons where Tarantulas may store his unfortunate prey. He must be stopped before he spins his web of terror across the galaxy.
So he's eating his prey then?
Yeah, Tarantulas was a dumb ninja warrior that kidnapped humans, and the show decided we're not going to do this. We're going to turn him into the Shockwave. Like, we're going to make him the scientist.
Wow. Okay, we have our first. We have a Chippa says hi from Twitch.
From Twitch. Yeah. Hello.
Hey, how we doing? Nice to join us.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. Who else?
Or any other funny ones? Oh, okay. Waspinator, who, is like the goon. Like, he's always getting owned. He's always getting beat up.
Yeah.
So his original bio.
Starscream even took over his body at one point.
Yeah. So intelligence being 5, that makes sense, actually, right? His endurance should probably be more than 5 because he always survives. And everything else, like, pretty decent stats, right? Yeah. His function, aerial attack. And here's his bio. Like a rattlesnake's tail before an attack, a chilling sound buzzes in the distance as if to forecast approaching danger. Suddenly, from the sky, the giant wasp appears, revealing its monstrous face and bulging eyes as it streaks down for an aerial attack. The Waspinator launches its secret wing missiles, striking the helpless victims below with the poisonous power of a robotic cyber sting.
Okay, so you have King Kong,
you
have It's Godzilla, And then you have Mothra.
Yeah. The Waspinator.
Right, like, you know, like all these giant, you know, I don't know, beasts coming at you.
Yeah. And in this version, he's like the deadliest killer instead of like a goon, you know?
Right.
You know, why am I like looking at this and I'm like, this is like the preview for like the movie, for like a movie. And it's like, you know,
Yeah.
coming this summer, Waspinator, like
Well,
a
some people have
rattlesnake.
speculated that, especially the way the bio calls him the Waspinator, some people think that it's supposed to be a play on words of the Terminator.
It fully is.
We got Bill saying from Facebook, great show tonight, mates. I'm heading to bed. See you guys next week.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Bill. And get anything extra, you know, just throw it this way to Canada anytime.
Yeah. I was looking for any more interesting ones because, like, a lot of these were pretty, like, especially the guys that weren't on the show, they were fairly generic.
The Rhinox.
Oh, did you do what's his name? The tiger.
Tigatron?
Tigatron.
No, but I can get to him.
Okay,
yeah,
after.
I'll do him first. Oh, I'll do Rhinox then first.
We're doing guys that we know from the show. We're not doing
Yeah.
His toy from the show.
Yeah.
I'd like to point out his TV show model changed a lot of stuff from his toy, so that is pretty vastly different.
Wow, that is very different.
Yeah.
What is that?
Well, for one thing, he's got his battle mask on, and the show didn't use the battle masks. Again,
You know
like
what he
limited budget.
Holy crap! You know what he looks like?
What?
From on my view on my laptop, he almost looks like those green pig guys on Return of the Jedi.
The Gamorrean guards.
Yeah, there you go. Doesn't it look like that?
Okay.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost looks like an artistic nightmare sketch from, you know, like a storyline from like the 60s or something.
Yeah. I like to point out this guy was like the scientist also. He was like
he was
Wheeljack, but his stuff didn't. Yeah. He was the scientist. Well, he doesn't have a direct G1 equivalent, but he was this chill, calm scientist, you know?
Yeah.
But they made his intelligence 6 here.
Which I don't like. I was really shocked to see that. I see his strength, which is a 9, makes kind of sense, right? But his intelligence should be a 9 at least.
Yeah. Again, like the show's writers just ignored these when they were writing the show, right?
Right.
Speed's 3, endurance is 9. His rank is 5, which is kind of weird. Because he was sort of like there were struggles over leadership whenever Optimus left, but like in the second season, like he just took over based on will alone, like kind of like what I said about Ratchet during Transformers Prime.
Yeah. So we got Bill here. Oh, Bill didn't go to bed yet.
Oh.
LOL. I have a lot of 4X1s. Things were boxed in the movie, and I kept buying, not knowing if I had 1 or 2 already. So I'll definitely give you the hookup, mate. I love our American. God bless America and no one else, man. Like, seriously. Well, thank you so much. You know, I love our American friends. They're awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Maximal Rhinox, function defense. Oh, this is another movie trailer one. The ground shakes with a terrible thunder. I imagine Victor Caroli should be reading these, the G1 narrator.
The ground shakes with a terrible rumble as jungle trees snap like twigs.
The noise draws closer in a cloud of dust and dirt. A herd of stampeding elephants? No. It is Rhinox, defending his territory from Predacon attackers. Courageous and cunning, has never backed down from battle, nor been injured in any way. Not even double-barreled laser cannons can cut through his triple-thick, steel-plated skin. If he comes your way, run for cover, fast.
You know,
well, he is pretty slow, so obviously you have. I guess you have a foot on him.
This is reminding me of the NWA movie, where it's like, you know, the original previews of the movies, you know, shows like the 4 black guys from the hood, the trailers, and it's like, you know, we're taking like the gangster life, turning it into music, but then someone on YouTube, as you know, the wild internet goes, they changed it up and put like classical music in the background and changed it into so now when you watch it, it's like because you changed the background music, it's no longer like, you know, four street thugs, you know, like bringing like realism to the theaters. It's like you
Poor
know,
young man down
you know,
on their
for
luck.
you know, we've saved these four guys and put them in an opportunity situation, and it like,
Poor
oh
young
boy.
man growing up in a tough environment,
Yep.
succeeded by using their intelligence.
I like to point out Tigatron's art is very bizarre.
Yeah, I was about to
Because-
say, what is that?
Is that? What is
Once again,
that?
the toy had a mutant mask you could flip down, and for his art, they decided to show that, even though he didn't use it on the show.
What is that?
But he looks like he has like two horns on this, like two big. I don't know,
No,
like you know, like a saber tooth on the
you know
side
what
of
that
his,
looks like the
like
little
tusk.
like a little sticker bio that you get out of like the bottom of a cereal box from like Clash of the Titans from the
Yeah.
80s. What is that?
Hey, but look at his colors, eh?
Yeah, it's his prototype colors too that's in, where he was like a yellow tiger, an orange tiger instead of a white tiger.
Wow.
You know what? You see, I would love to understand, or I shouldn't say I would like to understand or ask that question. Why did the showrunners decide to go with a white tiger, like a white and black tiger, and a
Yeah.
blue face and all that kind of stuff,
Mhm.
Oh,
versus
toy.
a yellow and black, like orange and black?
Oh yeah,
kind
the
of-
actual toy did actually have those colors. Like it's like blue streak versus silver blue streak. Like the prototype was orange, but they changed it to white before it went into production.
No,
but
I
the
get
art
that.
still
But
had
why?
the old colors.
But why? I know, I get what you're saying, but why on the show they decided to go with those colors versus this color? Let's just say.
Well, that's what color the toy was, so they went with that.
Because for me, it's like when you think of a tiger, I don't think about, you know, Sigmund Freud kind of tiger. I'm thinking like
Mhm.
this color here, like orange and
Yeah.
orange brownish with black stripes on it,
Yeah,
right?
nobody really knows why they changed it.
Is it because of
Maybe-
Cheetor?
Maybe, because Cheetor was already yellow. Maybe they thought, because the original toy was a repaint of Cheetor, so maybe they thought that orange wasn't enough of a change.
Interesting.
Yeah. So his strength is 8, but his intelligence again is 3. They really love making these guys not very intelligent.
Wow.
Yeah, not even close.
Speed 8, endurance 7, rank is 4. His courage is 10 though. His
So-
firepower is 7, skill 6.
So Mikey, sorry, I should say Spin. So far, the two highest intelligent wise are Primal,
Mhm.
right, and Megatron.
Yeah, Primal
All the
had
rest?
straight 10s across the board almost, except for his firepower.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so
And not just only that, it said he was a general, whereas
Yeah.
Megatron is a commander. So
Yeah.
is there a commander on the Autobots that we don't know of?
Yeah.
Hmm.
And, of course, the TV show would portray them as, like, low-ranking people. Like, Optimus is captain of a little crew of a ship, and Megatron is just, like, a criminal mastermind with a gang
Yeah.
behind them.
Mhm.
They both have their own, like, governments. Okay, so Tigatron, function, reconnaissance. Appointed by Optimus Primal for Northern Polar Sector reconnaissance. Roams the frozen tundra in animal form, but quickly converts to robot mode for battle, removing its titanium tail and converting it into a powerful quasar cannon to vaporize Predacons. Powerful and considered fearless, Tigatron is also equipped with a toxic fluid blaster that stops enemies cold, rendering their bodies useless.
Okay. That could probably answer some questions why they end up going with the white and black versus
Yeah.
the orange and black.
Yeah,
His bio even says Polar Sector.
yeah, like that's the only one that really seems to match up properly. So
Yeah, in fact, like, because this guy was a later release, right? Like, he was part of the second series of figures. So, like I
Yes.
was saying, this is probably the period where they were starting to adjust things to actually match the TV show that was now out on the air and being really popular.
makes sense.
Though I don't know why they still made his intelligence so low, because he was like a wise man. He was like a nature sage on the show, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I don't remember him being I remember him being intelligent. So I'm like,
Yeah.
why a 3? But still, that picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was like, Tigertron was like almost like similar to Tigra in Thundercats. You know what I mean? Like that same kind of mentality and characteristics and all that. So
Actually, that's funny. But yeah, because I mean, like, why do I remember? Why do I remember Tigertron? So distinctively from like however many years ago. But then when you say Tigra, then there was the white version of him, Bengali.
That's something interesting that I can point out for contrast here is you remember how weird Tarantulas' bio was and how it didn't fit him at all, right?
Yeah.
If we go down to like 1998, which was when they started doing the Transmetals, and then you go to like Transmetal Tarantulas' bio, like his stats still don't work, but they've written him to sound more like the show, I guess, or not, because it still says he's a ninja warrior.
Yeah, and it's telling us out of 4.
Yeah. What does it say now? He's still a ninja warrior, and it says, there are a few Predacons spinning webs of violence and deceit as skillfully as the 8-legged ninja warrior Tarantulas. After the quantum surge, Tarantulas was delighted to discover himself as a meched-out arachnid with motocross vehicle-like capabilities. Instead of constantly relying on stealth and surprise, Tarantulas now races into battle on his wicked new wheels, converting into a new animalized robot mode that makes him virtually unstoppable in battle.
There must have been some guy from Boston that read that. That's
He's
wicked
like,
awesome.
Motocross.
It's wicked awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do Dinobot.
Oh yeah, let's go back and I can do his clone form from later on too.
Yeah, can't forget Dinobot.
Yeah.
I do a few things related to him. Yeah, here we go. Nice glowing sword.
Okay.
Again with it's 5 intelligence. Why was everybody dumb in this line?
Why is he wearing like hockey shin pads?
That's to be fair, that's what the toy kind of looked like.
That's okay. Yes, we're Canadians, and I got to do a hockey reference here. So yeah. I'm looking at hockey shin pads here, which are pretty
lacrosse.
You know. All right, Mikey. Sorry. So his strength is 8, intelligence 5, speed is 9, endurance is 5.
Yeah, weird.
That's weird.
Yeah, that is weird.
Rank is 6. That's weird too. Courage is 9. Okay, firepower 6, skills 6. Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, weird.
I thought the skills would be up.
Yeah. Its function is frontline combat. It says, as if torn from the pages of Earth's prehistoric past, a vicious velociraptor breathes again. But Dinobot is no ordinary raptor. He's a robot in disguise, battling beside his heroic teammates, the Maximals. Armed with a spinning cyber/tail weapon and always hungry for battle, Optimus Primal considers him a natural combat expert who has clawed his way to the top, one victory after another.
Okay, you see that line there? A robot in disguise.
Yeah, something the show didn't.
No, I know, but like in present time, based on this, right? Yeah, I see a lot of velociraptors, walking on my street every day. So
yeah.
You'll also robot in disguise battling beside his heroic teammates, Hugh Jackman.
Yeah. Like you'll also note that this says nothing about him being a former Predacon. They entirely made that up for the show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I actually like that. I like that. You know how you switch sides and everything. That was pretty cool.
And there was nothing about that in his original bios. The writers just invented that. I think they said their reason was because in the toy line, all the other reptiles were Predacons, so they wanted to justify it. There's an interesting one I want to show. His repaint. Grimlock, right? He wasn't on the show, right? But they took Dinobot's toy and repainted him into Grimlock.
Wow, and basically used Grimlock's head.
Yeah. Strength 8, intelligence 7, speed 7. Yeah.
His intelligence is 7.
Maybe this is Marvel Grimlock.
Oh
What
my
is
god.
happening here?
His rank is only 5 too.
Wow.
His courage is 9. His firepower is 6. His skill is 7. Okay, now this is interesting. He's got a really interesting bio. So his function is attack specialist, and it says, in another era, when wars were waged between Autobots and Decepticons, Grimlock was a stalwart defender of the heroic Autobot cause. Today, disguised as a vicious velociraptor, Grimlock continues to battle against interstellar tyranny as he fights the evil Predacons. After converting to robot mode, his spinning slasher sword, hidden within his tail, slices through Predacon legions. And when the attack is over, you can usually find him flossing his fangs with the internal wiring of his battle-beaten enemies.
Okay.
That's quite a line.
Yeah.
But this is one of the few times where they were like, this is the G1 guy. We just brought him back.
Okay. Oh, okay. Speaking of G1 guy, bring him back.
Mm-hmm.
You know the next person I'm going to mention now.
Oh.
Ooh.
G1 Grimlock?
No. We've been talking about for the past couple of shows.
What, Thrust.
Oh, shots! No, our Russian comrade.
Oh, Ravage. I would like to note,
We
though,
gotta go with Ravage. Come on.
he did not actually have like a proper toy in Beast Wars, right? Only in Japan, so he
Wow.
didn't get a bio, right?
Oh, he didn't get a bio?
Yeah.
Oh,
Though
he's-
later on. Oh wait, did they? Is Shadow Panther up here? No.
So they gave Shadow Panther, but not Comrade Ravage.
He did get a bio near the end of the line as the Tripredicus agent. But it was supposed. Yeah. Yeah, here we go. This is from like 2001. This was meant to be like a later version of him, like because it's a Transmetal 2 Cheetor repaint.
Well, look at intelligent 8.6. So at least they give him some
0.6.
Yeah, they really got into the decimal points here.
Yeah.
Speed 8.2.
They couldn't have rounded off.
Yeah. Courage 8.6. Skill 9.4. Yeah. So this is sort of him. Predacon Tripredicus agent. Function covert intelligence operative. Oh yeah, they brought quotes back in the final year of the line, so he's got one. Deception is the nemesis of detection. His outer appearance resembles that of a Maximal, but within beats the fuel pump of a devious espionage agent. A former saboteur, this agent adopted several aliases while involved in the Beast Wars. As an assassin, he works best when operating solo. His irradiated spark, which was salvaged by the Vok, allows him to cloak his energy signature. Carries a low radiation proton bomb launcher with laser targeting. His only weakness is sensitivity to bright light.
Wow, so that's 2 Ravage references.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because this isn't like, because this is meant to be, this was like right at the end of the line. So this was like a form he never assumed on the show. So they wrote a reason for him to have it in this bio note here. Like, oh, the Vok irradiated his spark and gave him a new body. They were aliens that showed up on the show a few times.
Okay.
So now, since we talked about him, we got to go to Cheetor.
Cheetor, okay. Yeah, he's a year 1 guy, so he's probably really weird.
Well, let's see if they make him a kind of like
Bumblebee.
a bumblebee.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
but his is really close, but he almost looks more like what Tigertron should look like.
Yeah,
should have
yeah.
looked like.
I still never understood the head in front of the chest like that, man.
Yeah. Well, it's the same thing as a car hood on the chest.
Yeah, I know we talked about that, but still, man, I would have put that head in the back.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And make some kind of reference or some joke. What, you got eyes in the back of your head?
Yeah.
I do.
So his strength is 6, his intelligence is 5. This is accurate. He was never very smart. His speed is 10, which is also accurate. He was very fast. His endurance is 8. His rank is 6. He outranks Rat Trap. Jesus. His courage is 9. His firepower is 7. His skill is also 7. So what's it say about him?
Look at his skills.
That almost sounds like Bumblebee.
Yeah.
His function is jungle patrol. Like a bolt of greased lightning, Cheetor strikes fast and strikes hard. Quiet and
Grease lightning,
confident.
go! Grease lightning.
Well, can I pause you for
Like a
1
bolt of
second?
greased lightning,
Who-
Cheetor
who-
strikes fast and hard.
Who wrote the bios for Beast Wars?
We
I have
do
to
not
pause for
know.
a second.
This was
Like
it was not Bob Budiansky. We know that. He was long
Thank
gone
goodness.
by this point.
like there's just a ton of movie references in like every bio.
Yeah. It's a mystery. We don't know who wrote these, just that the showrunners didn't use them, right?
Thank God.
Wow.
Mhm. Quiet and confident with incredible reflexes, he is equally efficient when battling in robot mode or in his artificially enhanced organic Earth form. Constantly stalks the jungle in search of Predacon enemies, daring them to challenge him in his laser-powered quasar cannon.
Okay.
Actually, go back up for a second because on my screen I have Bumblebee. So you call out Cheetor's numbers, and I'll call out Bumblebee's right after.
Oh, yeah, okay. So his strength is 6.
Bumblebee is 2.
Wow.
Intelligence 5.
Bumblebee's 8.
Oh, okay. His speed is 10.
4.
Endurance 8.
7.
Rank 6.
7.
Oh, okay. Courage 9.
Bumblebee is 10.
Firepower 7.
1.
Skill 7.
Skill also 7.
So that's interesting. Like Cheetor is stronger and has more firepower, but like Bumblebee's like smarter and more skilled. I like to say they were definitely, this was the 90s and it was all about attitude. So I definitely feel like as I go through these bios, there's definitely a sense of like stat inflation compared to G1.
Grease lightning.
Yeah.
I know, eh? Well, if we're gonna talk about grease lightning, I guess we got to go to Air Raid.
Air Razor.
Air Razor, that's it.
Yeah. So she was a series 2 figure. So this is once again possibly where they were starting to make things more show accurate in terms of how they were written. Strength 5.
Okay, I'm gonna stop you right. Hold on. I'm gonna be sexist right here.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
I know. Eh? So, Spin will know this too. How many times has your mother or my mother used to throw their shoes at our heads?
I've lost count.
Okay. Look at her. What's it called? Her cannon. It's her foot.
Yeah.
If your mother or my mother had something like that, oh boy, we're in trouble. That's all I gotta say. Anyways, go ahead. We're in trouble.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So her strength is 5, her intelligence is 7, her speed is 9, her endurance is only 5, her rank is 6, her courage is 7, her firepower is only 4. I guess that shoot gun isn't very powerful. Yeah,
that should be a 10.
Her skill is 7. It's a 4 if she shoots it. If she throws it, it's a 10.
Endurance 5. Yeah, I guess I'm just thinking in terms of a bird.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, yeah, birds, should have a higher ranking in certain elements there.
Yeah. All right. Function aerial recon. An aerial reconnaissance expert. Air Razor's optical matrix scanners can detect Predacon ground movement from 30,000 feet. Internal radar transmitters then relay data to fellow Maximals, complete with 3D virtual reality maps detailing enemy location. Cyber blades hidden within wings open for attack mode. And although photon cannon concealed beneath tail is her weapon of choice in robot mode, she prefers attacking Predacons with her armor-slashing, titanium-plated talons. There you go.
Well, okay. Before you go, Mikey, or Spin. Do you have Laserbeak's file?
I can get it.
There was a Beast Wars Laserbeak too. He was a pterosaur repaint.
Oh.
I just want to know let's compare the two. And then, well, I guess if you want to do the Laserbeak Beast War one.
Well, I'll start with pterosaur and then go to Laserbeak like I did with Dinobot and Grimlock.
Okay, so I have Laserbeak.
Yeah.
Okay. Strength 5,
5,
intelligence 7.
6,
Oh, speed 9,
8,
endurance 5.
5,
Ooh, rank 6,
6,
courage 7.
2.
Really?
Firepower
Yeah.
firepower 4,
8,
Ooh.
skill 7.
9.
Okay, so they
Ooh.
almost had the same stats at first, but Laserbeak's apparently a coward, but he has really good guns, whereas Ares was the opposite. Really brave, but does not have very strong weapons.
Yeah, I wouldn't imagine
But
Laserbeak's courage being so low.
yeah, I'm surprised because Laserbeak doesn't back down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's start with Pterosaur, who was, of course, the Starscream equivalent, at least on the show. Again, with the 5 intelligence.
Everything 5.
Yeah. His strength is 6, his speed is 8, his endurance is 4, his rank is 6, his courage is 7. His rank is 6, he's definitely not Starscream's position.
No.
Wow.
His firepower is 5, his skill is 6. His function is aerial combat. Striking from the sky like a demonic dragon, this organically enhanced robot warrior is seldom seen. ... Until it's too late. Megatron personally supervised his genetically engineered creation, ensuring his devastating aerial combat efficiency. Truly a terror, he's known to ingest entire flocks of birds by flying open-mouthed through their flight pattern.
Okay. I'm going to go to Motor Master for a second.
Hold on, go to Swoop.
Wait, go to ooh. Okay.
Yeah, Swoop would be the equivalent to this, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay, I'm gonna keep Motor
Swoop
Master
didn't
open.
eat birds. He ate energons.
Yeah.
Swoop didn't eat birds. I don't think at any point I'd ever imagine hearing such a sentence. Okay, so I have a Swoop's text up.
Okay. Okay, so Pterosaur is a strength 6,
6,
intelligence 5.
6.
All right.
Ooh.
He's dumber than a Dinobot. Speed 8.
8.
Oh, endurance 4.
9.
Ooh, okay. Rank 6.
5.
Courage 7.
7.
Firepower 5.
7.
Skill 6.
7.
Okay, so Swoop beats him.
We're going to Swoop. We're going with Swoop.
Yeah, I
Sorry,
think
buddy.
Swoop is the smartest of the Dinobots. But go back for a second to actually. I forgot the Pterosaur. Yeah, go back to Pterosaur.
We're gonna go with
and
Motor
then-
Master.
Yeah, and then go down to to the written part. Okay, so Megatron personally supervised his genetically engineered creation, ensuring his devastating aerial combat efficiency. So, he personally put this guy together, but he's worse than a Dinobot.
Yeah, no kidding. I guess this is a Megatron whose intelligence is 9 instead of 10, so maybe he doesn't quite have it like he used to.
Wow.
We figured it out why now he's a 9 instead of a 10.
When your scientist is actually just a ninja with an intelligence of 4.
Yeah.
All right, let's look at because they repainted him into Laserbeak later on.
Oh gosh, what? Okay, here we go. So Professor D from YouTube.
Fish. Yeah.
You can't read this normally.
Yeah, I know.
You have to pick a character to read this as.
Okay.
Group like ate fish, and T-Rex ate grass. So why not scoop birds? These guys got privilege, what's called Grimlock ate those robotic fish in Cybertron, right?
He flosses his
Mhm.
teeth with wires, according to his Beast Wars bio.
There you go.
So why not swoop scoop bird?
Mhm. All right. All
It's
right.
probably Scoopy some other kind of bird, if you know what I mean. That's what she said. Uh, those are for our British, viewers.
Yeah, again, like I remember Laserbeak's courage was 2, so I guess acquiring a pterodactyl mode gave him courage of 8.
Hmm.
So who's this again? Sorry?
Laserbeak.
Oh, Laserbeak. Okay, so he became a okay.
They repainted Pterosaur into him the same way they repainted Dinobot into Grimlock.
All right, so what do we call him? We call him. So we have
Well, technically,
Russian.
he's spelled a little differently now. He's Laserbeak.
So he's like Nordic.
Yeah.
Okay.
His function is aerial attacks now. A fast-flying sky pirate with a thirst for battle. Laserbeak upholds his motto of believing the only good point he likes about the Maximals is their melting point. Okay, so it's his old motto. His laser weapon can melt through most of the Maximal's battle armor, but such aggression tends to drain his energon levels, allowing him to initialize only brief periods of aerial attack sequences between robot and pterodactyl modes. Still, when his power levels are charged, he's one mean menace. I like the fact that he's
mean menace. Watch
Yeah.
out, boys and girls.
What wasn't Laserbeak's original quote? The only good point about Autobots is their melting point. And they just referenced that here.
That's exactly it.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess it is supposed to be the same guy again.
But he's Nordic.
Don't call me Laserbeak. I am Laserbeak.
Laserbeak.
Right to be
Laserbeak.
French. He likes croissants.
Laserbeak.
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 Croissants.
Yeah.
All right. Who else? Who else is left? And
Oh, you should look at both versions of Black Arachnia.
there you go. Thank you.
Okay.
Strength. Again, they put her battle mask down, so she looks a little bit different.
Mhm.
Strength only 4. Intelligence 7.
So
Speed
it's about time.
Yeah. Speed 6, endurance 6, rank 5, courage 8, firepower 7, skill 8. I like that textually she's like smarter than most of them.
Yeah.
I'm
you know what,
surprised it's still even at a 7 though. Like she
Yeah.
was smarter than all of them in a sense.
Yeah.
But
Those are
I do believe her ranking here, what we're looking at right now, does kind of fit her.
Yeah.
So it wasn't too far off.
This is interesting too. Her function was listed as double agent, which, like that didn't happen on the show. Like
No, didn't she jump group sometimes? Because
yeah, towards the end of the series she became a maximal, but like she was never a double agent, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So for her function is double agent. It says moving like a venomous shadow under a midnight moon. Black Arachnia is an evil temptress posing as a Predacon double agent, capable
like a midnight moon.
Capable of converting thermal energy into poisonous cyber venom. She lures Maximals into her darkened den and then stuns them by firing a poison-tipped missile. After restraining them in her powerful legs, she then sinks her fangs into their armor to suck their life force dry.
Why do I see her on a romantic cover book with Fabio? Under a dark lit moon.
I'm just stuck on she's posing as a Predacon double agent. Like, what does that mean? Does that mean she's a Maximal or?
Okay, you know what? Go to Counterpunch. Punch counter, whatever it is. See what he has.
Punch and counter punch. Actually, you know what? I wonder if because I think he has like 2 different. Okay, so there's punch.
Look at her intelligence here, 9.3.
Yeah, because this is her Transmetal 2 form from later on.
Wow.
And now, like, they've all gotten little stat inflations. Strength is 5.5. Intelligence is now 9.3. Speed is 7.2. She got smart. She's smarter
so she's
than
smart as Megatron.
Yeah, smarter than Megatron now.
5.3.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Endurance is 6.8. Her rank is still 5 though. Her courage is 7.6. Her firepower is 6.1. Her skill is 8.5. And her function is now a saboteur instead of a double agent. And her motto is, I use deception for the purpose of good. I use it a lot. Stealing Megatron's mysterious new technology, Black Arachnia, Black Rose of the Maximals, succeeded in altering her maximal protoform into a powerful Transmetal 2 structure. Despite her Predacon pride, she detests Megatron and fights for now with the Maximals. The definitive femme fatale, she despises life's pleasantries, fires strong venom pincers that operate as a paralyzing claw, retrieving enemies from up to 100 meters. Electro Disruptor housed in rear segment casts illusions, altering her physical placement and appearance for up to 5 minutes. In robot mode, she packs a deadly roundhouse kick. Generally concerned with her own self-preservation, Black Arachnia will at times astound with heroism, but cannot be fully trusted.
So
Okay,
she's
see,
Black Widow Arachnia.
yeah.
Yep.
See, this is
Yep.
right near the end of the line because these were some of the last figures, and this was definitely following in the footsteps of the show because this is just straight up the show's story and the show's personality for her, right?
Mhm.
So this is like after they'd stopped doing all that weird stuff and we're just like writing what was on the show instead.
So should we go to is it Silverbolt?
Silverbolt? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Let's find him.
All right.
This would have been a year earlier, so still in no man's land. There he is. He's just like so aggressively gonna hit you with that thing.
He's intelligent.
What is that?
Oh my god!
Oh,
Why his intelligence is 10? What the hell?
is that like the smartest? I mean, so between him and Prime and Megatron.
Yeah, well, Optimus Primal was a 10, so he's. I'm
He's
sorry,
smarter
he
than
was
Megatron.
dumb. He was like not too bright on the show. He was like heroic, but like
Yeah.
Wow.
gullible. You know,
Da-da-da-da.
I just like how mean he looks there. He's like, "I'm going to beat you to death." Look at that face and that pose.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Strength 7, intelligence 10. Yeah, right, sure. Speed 8, endurance 8, rank 7, courage 9, firepower 6, skill 8. Geez, they really inflated the stats on this guy.
Wow.
All right. His function is tracker. Oh boy, this is a long one.
Hold on, wait a minute. He's a tracker with all that stuff that he has in his
Yeah.
ranking. They just put him as a tracker.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. Weird. Okay. Shadows of mystery cloak this silent and proud warrior. That's inaccurate. He was like loud and obnoxious. Okay. Part wolf, part eagle. Silverbolt possesses all the attributes of a great lone warrior: speed, power, wisdom, intelligence. His
Oh, dear.
uncanny ability to track and then furiously overcome Predacons by himself, only to suddenly disappear into the backdrop, has inspired myths describing a fierce winged warrior who has come to defeat their evil ranks one by one. Preferring to work alone, Silverbolt is a ferociously intelligent fighter. Extremely dexterous, he seems to be everywhere at once, striking with fearsome talons and firing hidden point missiles from his wingtips to ultimately surface victorious. Okay, they ignored all of this for the show.
Yeah, like they just made him like a mythical warrior that just
Who works
magically
alone and is quiet and
appears,
silent.
yeah, and then disappears, and they're like, what happened? We don't know. That's like just the magical warrior Silverbolt,
Yeah.
showed up and then disappeared.
Well,
It was
if you look at his figure, like if you scroll up a bit,
Yeah.
look at the figure. It looks like a knight,
Yeah, I guess.
right?
It's just funny that the show once again did not go with any of this and decided we're going to turn him into like a daring do over dramatic superhero type,
Mhm.
So what was the ant's name? Inferno?
Yeah, Inferno.
Right.
Yeah, let's look at Inferno.
Inferno is king of the anthill. That's what his commercial said. I remember it from back in the day.
I'll say this will be our last one for the evening.
Yeah,
Hold on, no,
yes.
wait. Then we have Inferno, and then we have.
Or how many more?
There is the Proto X
Rampage.
Rampage. That's it.
Ah,
Rampage, and then there's that one that Rampage fell in love with that Silverbolt, and Rampage fell in love with that
Transmutate.
one. That's it.
Transmutate didn't get a toy in the original line, so there's no bio sticking around
No?
for her. They made her up for the show.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I just point out this is some good looking art, actually.
Yeah, this one here is pretty nice. I like this one.
One
I
of
actually
the
like
better
Silverbolt,
ones.
and I like this one here.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so his strength is 7. His intelligence is only 4, but yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
His speed was 8. His endurance is 4. His rank is 7. His courage is 8. His firepower is 6, and his skill is 5. His courage should be 10. He was like,
He was always first in line.
he didn't care. He was like
Yeah.
he was a berserker basically. Inferno function infantry commander. Although seemingly slow, this giant ant's abdomen splits into separate quadrants to reveal hyperdrive ion thrusters to propel him at speeds up to 180 miles per hour. If he can't catch a retreating Maximal, he detaches his rear leg missiles and fires them from the secret launcher hidden within his power-pinching mandibles. The claw-like pinchers also detach, so Inferno can put the bite on enemies, even in robot mode, when his destructive powers are at their best.
See,
it says
I'm just
nothing about his personality.
Bro, check out these abs, bro.
I'm just envisioning something else when it's like what is it? Where is it? Speeds. No, he detaches his rear leg missiles. Like I'm just picturing like he just takes the missile off his leg and just throws it at the opponent.
Just rips his leg off.
Yeah, but look what it says about his abs. Read that part about his abs because I can't remember.
The ant's abdomen splits into separate quadrants to reveal hyperdrive ion thrusters.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Look at these abs, bro. You gotta go to the gym, man. You gotta get ripped like me, right?
They're actually trying to describe the way the back of his ant node would come apart, and there'd be a thruster in there.
Amazing. All right, Mr. Rampage.
That would have been Mega Ultra Depth Charge and Rampage. Nice art. Oh, okay. Strength is 10 plus.
Wow.
Intelligence is 9. Speed is 9. Endurance is 10 plus. Rank is 9. Courage is 10. Firepower is 10 plus. Skill is 9. This sort of works. He was like an experiment gone awry and was supposed to be hyper strong, so...
So how come this guy didn't take over the leadership?
Yeah, well, they addressed that, right? Megatron, while he was knocked out, sliced off a chunk of his spark and kept it in a little container, and then he could squeeze it to cause him pain, and that's how he controlled him.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't remember seeing that. So okay.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I didn't see all of it. So that's
it was surprisingly gruesome, but that's how he kept him in check.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So what happened to him at the end? Because I don't remember him in the later seasons.
Well, he doesn't survive the Beast Wars. Depth Charge defeats him by shoving a shard of raw energon right into his spark. That's what it takes to finally kill him.
Oh, okay.
This show goes hardcore sometimes, okay?
Okay.
This is like a Hulk Superman type of character.
Yeah. Yeah, like that was the idea, right? He was an experiment that went awry, right? Maybe it'll say that. Holy shit, that's what it says at the start of the bio. The results of an experiment gone awry. Okay, Predacon Rampage, function Warlord.
Wow.
The result of an experiment gone awry. Rampage is an evil titan devoid of mercy. Calculating and fearsome, he is a legend among Cybertrons, and it is rumored that his spark cannot be extinguished. In King Crab mode, Rampage uses his hulking claws to generate colossal tidal waves, induce earthquakes, and trigger landslides. Though his bulk hinders his overall dexterity, Rampage makes good use of his impenetrable armor and multi-weapon arsenal in crab, tank, and robot modes. Galva conductors on his back channel deadly electrical currents that he disperses at will. Rampage customarily activates his Gatling cannon to finish off his enemies in a deluge of cluster missiles. All Cybertrons fear his unmatched aggression.
So wait a
Okay.
minute. Are you telling me he was a triple changer?
Yeah. He has his crab mode, a tank mode, and a robot mode.
There you go. Our first
Yeah.
triple changer.
Yeah. Okay. Honestly, this is actually pretty close to the show. I mean, his powers are just like random made up stuff that he didn't use, but like the personality part of it, I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what happened. He was like, he was supposedly had an indestructible spark and was like a legend, and it was an experiment. So yeah, this was actually pretty close to what they actually used this on the show.
Nice.
So do we need to go to Death Charge?
Yeah. His counterpart. Yeah, see, his stats are more realistic, right? Well, they're still high, but there's no pluses except for his courage.
Right.
Look at his intelligence again, 10.
Yeah, speed 8, endurance 9, rank 10. Rank 10, so he's the same rank as Optimus.
Wow.
Courage 10 plus, firepower 9, skill 9. They're definitely like, these were the big expensive toys, so they were 100% trying to like make them seem like the most powerful ones.
Okay.
Depth charge, function, aquatic forces commander. Oh, we're going dramatic again. A magnificent giant soars through the oceans in regal silence. Depth charge was commissioned by Optimus Primal to act as a first line of defense against Predacon undersea aggressors. Though he would rather study military strategies than execute them, Depth Charge is a dedicated fighter and an inspired leader. Nuclear Cybershark drone conducts recon missions, doubles as a reinforcement in battle, and fires dual proton torpedoes. Intermediate space cruiser mode can achieve planetary orbit or withstand the deepest oceanic pressures. As a robot, he fires shrapnel grenades from his chest and can maintain a force field for 5 megacycles. With unshakable nerves and energon cutlass in hand, Depth Charge leads his brave platoon into battle. This is the opposite. They ignored this for the show, right? He was on the show, he was like a renegade because he was specifically after Rampage, because Rampage destroyed like the colony that was his home. So he shows up on the Beast Wars world and he like is like, I'm not following Optimus or the Maximals or anybody. I'm on my own. I'm just here to keep Rampage. And that was his whole story, right?
Why is it that it's like we need Earl James Jones?
James Earl
Jones.
Thank you. To read this in a Shakespearean way.
Yeah.
You know? My goodness. Well, you know what? We got to give him kudos for writing pretty elaborate, bios there for these Transformers.
Yeah, because it's like on one hand,
Beast Wars.
I'm like on one hand, the TV show people, like it might have been a smart move to just do their own thing because we got like a really good show, but also I'm like, somebody put a lot of work into these and a lot of them were just never used. So I don't know I don't quite know how to feel about that, you know?
So here's my question to you then, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you happy that the show writers did not use their original bios and they said, you know what, screw it, we're gonna rewrite this, and we're gonna go with these bios or these attitudes or these ranks and these strengths and all that kind of stuff? Or would you had prefer that they use the original bios?
Here's
and
the
what
thing.
Kind of show would it would as well too?
I think about how as somebody that's read a lot about the production of the show, a lot of it was defined by its limitations, right? Like they just picked 10 characters because they couldn't afford to generate more character models, right?
Right.
And they set it on an empty world because then they wouldn't have to do more than the 10 people. So I think if they tried to do the world of the bios there, like where there's cities and people around, I don't think they would have been able to really do it very well because like they wouldn't have had the budget to depict like lots of people or big thriving cities or anything, right?
Right.
Okay, so that's the logical 100% answer, and I agree. It basically came down to money in production, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So let's just say they had money to throw.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's forget about all the the real reasons why they did that. Okay. Let's just say they had all the money in the world, they had everything to do. You know what I mean? There is no question they're able to do both. What would you prefer them? I'm only asking you this because you're the Beast Wars guy, right?
Yeah.
So what would you prefer? The original storyline that they still went with, or would you had prefer that they actually went in present Earth and doing these bios and rankings and everything that they did originally?
I don't know, because I'm going to say, like, there's a lot of interesting ideas in these bios, but I kind of feel the characters they wound up writing for the show were a lot deeper than a lot of these ones here. Because a lot of them, they don't have much in the way of personality or, like, are really stock characters, whereas we got some real interesting, deep characters in the story they went with. So I kind of feel like I wouldn't want to trade those away. Like, they invented, Dinobot, who, got in the Hall of Fame for his role. Like that was an invention of the show writers, with him changing factions and going through that whole arc, and that was them going against the bio and writing their own thing. So I kind of prefer, this is an interesting thing, but I kind of prefer what we got because of where they took it, right? And I think about, like, the most important thing to come out of Beast Wars was Sparks, because they invented those for that show. Right. And I think, would we have gotten that if they'd gone in a different direction?
I'll tell you this. So someone that is not invested in Beast Wars like you, but have seen quite a few episodes, right?
Yeah.
And, understand the beginning and right to the end how it went through. Like D says, all I have to do is read the first page and the last page, I'm good. So, reading all these bios after what we just did right now, I have to admit, I'm kind of glad that they kind of went the original route in a sense of changing it, because imagine, just imagine these characters in present time Earth, where you have Godzilla size figures roaming. In New York or Toronto or whatever cases, right? Fighting and all that kind of stuff. And then you have like vast different scales. You got Rap Trap, like literally, like trying to save his own life because you have like this T-Rex and King Kong over here, like, fighting, right? And he doesn't want to get stomped on, right? And then you just have like all these other figures that are pretty funny, right? So I have to agree in that aspect what you're saying, Anthony, because just reading the bios, it wouldn't make sense. It would have been a laughing stock. I personally believe it would have been a laughing stock, Transformers, and we would have said, okay, we're going to talk about Transformers, but we do not talk about Beast Wars, because that didn't happen, right? Yeah. Based on what we read today.
Yeah. And I think about like the writers came up with that totally different explanation for why they were beasts, and it had nothing to do with disguise, like probably for that reason, right?
Yeah. What do you think?
I agree with what you guys are saying, and I think too, if the writers did look over these bios, from the style that they were written, I bet a lot of them are like, no, this is just kind of not to say corny, but just it's corny. So some of it just sounds corny. Like as soon as you read it, there's no way to not think like these just sound like bad movie trailers. Like let's just rewrite this and give the characters like some definition, not to whatever their bios were written as.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'll tell you this. Sorry, Ant. I'll tell you this. You know how Transformers, like the G1s, in a sense, they have that shattered glass.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind seeing a Beast Wars Shattered Glass where they take on those kind of personalities that they written with the original bios. That'd be funny to read.
Yeah, I would love to, like, now that we've gotten what we've gotten, I would love to read something, a comic or anything, set in that continuity that we never actually saw, that only exists in these bios, right? I'd like even just like a one-shot issue. I just want to see what that story looks like.
No, we got that. That was called the Netflix version of Transformers.
That is true.
Like
That
whatever
is
they
true.
did with that Megatron in that version, like that's not Megatron.
Yeah, I guess.
That is true.
Yeah. Well, the thing that I keep coming back to as I was reading these bios is some of them find room for it, but a lot of them don't even really say who they are. They just say what they can do.
Right. That's
Whereas
true.
the Bob Budiansky ones like made sure to include their personality in them.
Mhm.
Well, I'll tell you this. And let's go to our viewers. Please comment
Mm-hmm.
on what you think. Tell us
Yeah.
what you think. Tell us. You know, would you want something like that? Like, you know, the story based on their bios,
Mm-hmm.
or do you agree what Anthony and I were saying? Let us know. Tell us. You know, comment below, and also hit the likes button as well too. That definitely helps us out with our page and algorithm and all that
Mhm.
other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Technical
You know,
stuff.
there you
All
go.
the
All
things.
technical stuff, right? So if you could do that, that'd be fantastic. And if you could share, please do so. But yeah, comment. We want to read your comments. Tell us what you guys think, and also about today's episode or any other future episodes. That'd be great. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
more feedback. Hopefully will help us to make our shows in the future better. So,
Mm-hmm.
all right, I just wanted to add that.
You know, and the one idea that we had in the chat is we should like once a month we will come back to tech specs, so that will leave people time to like 3-4 weeks. It will give people time to comment and and add to the ideas and and what they think.
Well, you know what? I'm glad that you mentioned that because with D, he's mentioning about cowards.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so we got to come up with 7 cowards out of Autobot, 7 Autobot cowards.
Yes.
Top
I think
7
about-
Autobot cowards. There you go.
I think about like my mind goes back to Revenge of the Fallen of all things. Right at the end of the movie, in a rare moment of like profoundness, Starscream was like, "Not to call you a coward, Master, but sometimes cowards survive." They
Mhm.
say as they're retreating after he got his face blown off,
Yeah.
and then they pull back.
There you go. So let's look at that. And again, we got a website.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why we're talking this right now, people, because it's been 3 hours that we've been talking. 3 hours? Can you believe that?
Yeah, you got me going on Beast Wars.
Yep.
Hey, today's show was sponsored by Anthony.
Yeah, no
and
kidding.
the letter B. Right. And so we're gonna start wrapping it up because it has been 3 hours. It's 11 o'clock, and
Yeah.
you know where your children are, and
I should be.
yeah,
I
they
should
should
be
be in
asleep.
bed. Exactly, all of us here. So we do got a website. The website is
Mhm.
called childrenofprimus.com. The website is multifunctional. Why
Mhm.
do I say that? Because we got a classified site where you can
Mhm.
sell, buy, promote, whatever you want to do with Transformers or even GoBots. So if you got
Beast
something to
Wars.
sell, or you want something to buy, or you want to promote something, or if you got some magazines or DVDs or video games or statues, whatever the case is, post it on Children of Primus. And
Mhm.
I'm telling you this because it's free to use. I don't know how many times I'm going to say this. It's free. Use it. Abuse it. I don't know why you guys are not using it. Use it. It's free. Especially in today's economy. It's free.
Mhm.
Especially with just inflation here, okay? It's free. All right. And we also got another part of the website, which we do news and reviews.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And we have a great writer that's just below me named Anthony. And Anthony is going to let us know what he's going to do for this Monday and Friday.
Mhm.
Take it away.
So this tomorrow we'll be looking at Bumblebee movie Starscream.
Don't call me Blitzwing.
What'd you say?
Don't call me Blitzwing.
Oh yeah, yeah. This is I put him in his Tetrajet mode so you wouldn't get him confused,
Yeah.
right?
There you go.
Then on Friday I'm going to be going back in time to the very first series of Siege and looking at the very first Micromasters that ever came out in that line.
Nice.
And then the Monday after that, I'm going to be doing Bumblebee movie again, and we're going to look at not just regular Bumblebee movie Optimus, but the new premium finish one that they just put out. If you're insane like me and want a version that's absolutely slathered in paint.
Damn,
Nice.
that's it. Does that? I was going to ask you, does that come with the Matrix?
No, this isn't the masterpiece. This is the Studio Series figure with way more deco on him.
No, I get that. I was just curious to know because I don't know this, and I was just wondering if it came with the Matrix in it.
Nope. It's funny because his chest can like open like there would be a Matrix there, but it's just a transformation joint inside.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I would have thought the Matrix would have came with that. The movie.
well, I didn't use it in the movie.
Right.
Maybe he doesn't.
No, they
even
did.
have it.
They did use it in the movie.
Not in Bumblebee.
No, they didn't. You're right there.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he doesn't have it. It's who knows. We'll see what happens when Rise of the Beast comes out. Whenever that comes out.
That is true.
Yeah.
And also read your reviews.
Yeah.
Spin, you got anything to say?
No, I think you guys covered it. Want to, thank you for everyone who came out to the show once again. TF Collect, Bill, Professor D, and Toy Warp. And also a viewer from Twitch who also came by to say hello.
Thank you very much.
Like,
yeah. And if you got
subscribe.
Yeah, please subscribe. Again, share, like, comment, do all those things that's supposed to help this channel. I don't know. And or don't do it. I don't know. It's up to you, man. But we prefer you do, please. Yeah, so thank you so much. Hopefully next week we have another show to make you guys happy to watch and
make you think.
And make you think. There you go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna say it's time to roll out and peace.
I'd say watch out for another funny video clip coming out this week.
Yeah, what did Optimus Prime say?
Blah, 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 blah.
But this one will be different. This one won't be Optimus Prime. I've picked another character.
Ooh.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
Have a good night. Thank you.